So Facebook and YouTube should kick on right quick here. I've got Twitch going. Although we don't really get people on Twitch. They just like people watching video games, so I still
Yeah.
stream to it. What the heck?
So put a small window in the bottom with combat playing.
I was gonna say Metal Slug, but sure, we'll
Oh,
do.
combat. Gotta do combat.
So I was on Twisted Gaming TV last night, and I was chatting with him. I told him we got to get him on the show sometime too, and he said he'd be willing to come on. He's got a lot of knowledge in, just like you, Glenn, with regular arcades, not like these.
And he's got more hair.
He's got more hair, yes. So
you know what? I need a cap. I'm the only one here without a cap.
Well, that's what I said. You're filling in for Doug, so you need to put a cap on backwards.
Right.
That's right.
Right.
I have no cap.
I mentioned we were going to bring Patton on, Patton Plays from YouTube, and he works a little late tonight, so he might join us for post show. Maybe he said it depends. He said don't quit, but we do want to get him on in the future. Another really nice guy. If you guys in the chat room don't know Patton Plays, you guys need to go subscribe to him, because he went out of his way to email me because he saw the struggle on last week's show. I was talking about the SNES. And he figured, because Doug and Glenn weren't very much help to me, he felt like he would. No, I'm kidding. He didn't say that. He did not say that. He said I wanted to help you out, see what's going on. Well, we found out because of the tutorial that I used with ETA Prime. ETA Prime was using outdated software, which caused my problem. And when I figured it out that I used the version that Patton shows in his videos, guess what? Everything worked. Even all the cables, Glenn, that I kept telling you were broke and they didn't work. Every single one of them worked. So
wow.
And then I had a couple people there like attacking me, going, "That's why you should watch Patton and not you for these." I'm like, listen, I only made the video, one, to give him a shout out, and two, to kind of let people know if you're struggling with this because you watched other tutorials, you may want to look at some newer ones. That's the only reason why I did the video.
What was that? You just had to reflash it, pretty much?
Right. So I had to go back to the stock firmware on the SNES Classic with the outdated Hakchi firmware. Then, like, wipe everything out of it. Then uninstall that software, re-download the new Hakchi, I think it's CE, Hakchi 2 CE, reflash the firmware from that. What do you dump the kernel or whatever, it flashes it. Then put the games on, because ETA Prime says hook the game, the flash drive into the Y cable while it's connected to your mini console connected to the PC, and that's not the way Patton says. Patton goes, you just plug the USB drive right into the computer, put all the games on there right away, and it's off and going. And that's, sure enough, that's all I did.
Wow.
So his was a lot easier method. And I'm not saying...
Say meth?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Meth?
Yeah. So either way, I mean, it's good. So it's up and going. Glenn, you want to share this out to the...
Yes, sir.
Out
you are definitely live on Facebook, and I'm checking YouTube as well.
Hang on. Somebody's messaged me. I have to type one-handed. Let me go share. So which one are you putting in? Are you going to do it the arcade one up, and then you want me to send it to @games, or what do you want to do?
Yeah. I'll do the arcade one up. I'm doing it right now.
Okay, and then I'll send it also to. Oh wait, I didn't want to do that. I started a watch party. Oh well.
Yeah, did you like that? I do that like every time.
Oh, do you?
But well, not on purpose. But
I did it on accident.
That way.
I wasn't trying to do a watch party, but sorry guys, but there is a watch party there. Let's do this. Come back to here. If I don't come back to the main one, I'm not going to be able to see what's going on here. So I'll jump back and forth between YouTube and Facebook, but if you're able to kind of watch the chat here, I see Matt's in the chat room. Some guy named Glen. He's stirring up trouble in there, saying hi to everybody.
Well, they're telling me to take that from you, man. About the
and Doug's on his way to the happiest place on Earth, and he's getting ready to make his lightsaber.
Oh, that's right. He went to Disney World, didn't he?
Yep.
Yep.
Otherwise,
That's
he'd be
awesome.
here.
He blew us off for Disney and fun with his wife. What's wrong with that?
I know. Priorities, people. Priorities.
Yeah. The
I'm
show
gonna
must
wait
go
till the
on. That's
hotel
how it
opens.
goes.
I think that's later this year.
What's that?
When the hotel opens.
Oh no, the hotel's open now.
Is it open now?
I believe it opened. I want to say January. I know at the end of the year last year it was open up in California, but my mother-in-law just went in September. Well, maybe it was September they opened it up down in there. But she said it was like they stayed away from it because it was that full.
Wow.
Yeah, it's insane.
It looked pretty amazing. I saw a video on how you go in there and, you're on a shuttle, then you wind up on the mothership or whatever, which is actually inside the hotel. It looked pretty awesome.
I told my wife I want to go, but I want to wait till after like the crowds have, all the diehards go down there that they, I want to wait till after that to go.
Good point.
Yeah, because then you don't have to deal with the nonsense.
Is everyone shocked? We're like ahead of the curve here. We're like live. Everything's working.
Yeah. Everybody's coming in, and let me go over to YouTube here. Arcade Renegade. Yeah, he was messaging me earlier. He has like a whole suitcase he showed me of stuff he's taken out. And he's going to get us some footage, Glenn, he's going to two conventions that he's going to shoot some video footage that we could show on here. One's in Chicago, I think, and Arcade Renegade. What was the other place? If you can name it in the chat room. I forget what the two. He told me the two conventions. I just don't know what what they are off the top of my head. My son is really
Arcade Expo. Arcade Expo
in Louisville, yeah. And there's one. I thought there was one in Chicago. My son is big on Power Rangers, so if there's any Power Ranger people there, he would the old school ones too. He likes the old school.
Cool.
Yeah, I got him started on the original Power Ranger ones, and then he just kind of went off into Power Ranger Z and Dino Wars and all that other stuff. Yeah, he's really into that. He started collecting like Glen. Although he hasn't asked for 5 of them, he started collecting them.
Oh man, I'm sorry, man. You're in trouble then.
Well,
you're in trouble.
Harold, I should blame Harold. Harold started it. He sent my son those little mini handheld retro, like he's
Super
got a
Impulse?
centipede. It's like a see-through. It's like
that's a Super Impulse.
Okay, he sent him 2 of those and one of the little mini arcade cabinets. And I'm like, thanks, Harold. I mean, I appreciate him sending it. Don't get me wrong. But now my son wants to collect them, so he's got them hanging on his wall. So he hasn't asked for 5 like you have. Thank God.
Not yet.
Not yet. So
you've got quite the collection there, Glenn.
Yeah, it's really, I really can't move. I mean, it's gotten to that point.
We need to do a show where
I'm gonna be on Hoarders.
We need to do a show where you take us through that, Glenn. Like your collection.
Man, you're gonna have to bring one of those people from Hoarders to come to the house. Well, now, do you really need it? No, get out the box. I can't take my box. I need 5 of those boxes. They're empty, but I need them.
My wife yelled at me the other night because, again, I'm a big fan of Dreamcast, and she's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm on eBay." She's like, "Looking at what?" She's like, "You already have a Dreamcast." And I'm like, "That's not a Dreamcast." She's like, "Well, yeah, I'm looking at the box." I'm like, "No, I'm looking at buying a box." She's like, "You're gonna buy a box?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, I want to hang it. I want to hang it on the wall like my Xbox."
Tell her this one. I spent $80 on a completely empty Coleco Atom box.
That's what the
$80.
Dreamcasts
I
are
had to
going
go
for.
get it.
75, $80.
Are they really?
Jaguar
Wow.
It's
box is about that
insane.
too.
It's insane.
I saw an Amiga 1000 going for like $9,000 with a box in it.
It's
Oh, yeah, that guy's
ridiculous.
crazy. He's been out for years. I could have
Has he?
actually bought one. Yeah, he's nuts. He's been doing it for years. I saw one. It was one of those things. It was $99, and the bidding ended. I'm like, you know what? I should have bought it. And then it came back on again, and I waited and waited, and someone else, bought it up and got it.
So
But the 1000 Amiga, man, that's the only one I don't have.
before
And
we
that's just a beautiful little machine.
before we
I
start the
think I still
show,
have my. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, you're fine. Before we start the show, Peter Griffith, Electronic Drums, says, "Has anyone heard when Arcade 1-Up's new light up new Street Fighter cabinet is coming out?" So I haven't heard that yet. But also, yes, Cool Toy is on vacation. He's on his way to Disney. That's why he's not here tonight. You guys know of anything with the new Street Fighter light up? Anything?
I have not. No.
No, he didn't leave
I always
last
have the good
weekend.
answer. I always have the good answer of NDA. Can't say anything, man.
No, Cool Toy actually is getting on a plane tonight, isn't he, Glenn? 'Cause
Yeah.
we were chatting
Yep.
with him earlier. I think he's either boarding the plane now at the start of the show, or let's see, he's an hour behind us, right? So
Yeah.
yeah,
think he's
so
an hour behind as
he
well.
may be on his way to the airport now. So he'll be back for next Friday's show. He said he should be coming in early Friday, so he'll be back to show us all the cool goodies that he's bringing.
He is going to shoot a lot of video during this trip, right?
But I did see a video today about something that you all have been waiting for, about a price on the new Arcade 1-Up pinball. And Scott himself verified the cost. So I'll drop that bomb when we get back here. I know Glenn's shaking his head because I think Glenn saw the same video. So we're going to talk about
Maybe.
that here in just a few minutes. So we're going to go dark and let's get this show started. Hey guys, it's Friday, and you know what time it is. It's time for the Retro Buzz, and we are one man of our official cast, if you will, short this week. But Glenn and I are going to hold the fort down. Cool Toy, we're going to wish him well on his vacation. He's probably going to have a lot of cool goodies to show us, Glenn, when he gets back. But we've got Glenn, plant a tomato, plant a motto.
Yeah, I was just getting my. I should have did this before because Doug is going out there, so I should put this on.
Yeah, there you go.
Now, yeah, we got my Star Wars. That's why he's going out there. My little Star Wars years going on here. He abandoned us, but I guess I can understand taking his wife to Disney to. Whoop! Things falling off my head. So I hope him and his wife a safe trip.
Yes, absolutely.
To Florida. And if if any of you people are down in Florida at Disneyland, Cool Toy's down there. Just look for the light. He's almost like those princesses. The light kind of comes down, the birds kind of follow him, and they all talk and chatter as they go along. So when Cool Toy's there, just look for the little animals running to somebody. I guarantee you it's going to be Cool Toy.
Well, before we introduce our guest, Glenn, I know you have a major announcement with your Kickstarter. You had what, 40,000? I think it was 40,000 you wanted to get to make this yoke happen, but you didn't get 40,000. You didn't get 45,000. Glenn, how much did you end up getting when it was all said and done?
Well, originally it was 30,000.
30,000.
And 30,000. But at the end of the day, we end up raising $55,556. So
wow.
I want to thank everyone out there for backing it. And again, what surprised me more than anything was not just the end users, the people buying it, but actually other companies backing the project. and I can't thank them enough. We've already begun some little small redesigns. We're trying to make this as accurate as we can do it, and I'm hoping everyone's going to be really excited come July. Again, the only problem I'm having right now, which a lot of companies in China are having, is because of the coronavirus. I'm not sure if it's not affecting us yet, but it's manufacturing, so we're hoping we're going to stay on schedule for July.
Awesome. Well, congratulations again, Glenn. I mean, it's well deserved. You are the godfather here in the arcade industry, so it's great to see you finally making some headways with some of your dreams to come. I'm excited to see him coming out. I can't wait to see that.
I'm very glad to hear you say that and pay homage to me. It's very good.
Well, I was told that if I didn't do that, that Negan was going to come out, and I didn't. I really didn't. It was in my email, so I'm making sure that I'm staying on script here. So
he's been pretty quiet lately, which is kind of good.
Well, we started kicking around, and we were like, "Dang, man, Cool Toy's not going to be on here." And the other guest that we had, he had something come up with his daughter that he had to go to, and we were like, we need a bombshell guest. We need somebody to come on here that's going to blow the roof off the place. And you somehow, you introduced me to this gentleman. You somehow did it. And without further ado, we have John Wagner from, John was here from Wagner. What is this? Oh, there he is.
TK421. Take off your helmet, TK421.
We've got having a little fun here on a Friday night here. We've got John Wagner from Wagner's Tech Talk joining us. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
If you guys haven't heard of John, go over to his website over at wagnerstechtalk.com. Yes, he actually has a website because I've been after Glenn. I have a website. You have a website. John, tell him how important it is to have a website.
It's pretty important. It does help because there's a lot of things that sometimes you can put in your videos that you really want to kind of supplement it kind of after the fact because you can't go back and edit your videos very well. So yeah, it's good to have a website.
Well, it's great to have you here, and we want to get into.
I did have one. It was on GeoCities. What happened to GeoCities? It was all on there.
All right. To be fair, Glenn does have a website. I helped him start it. We weren't going to say anything.
Oh, let's see.
But Glenn, it's got some work to be done, right?
Well, anything I have always has work to be done.
So, I think you guys all need to spend some time this week because I helped Glenn get this going here a little bit. You need to tell Glenn he needs to get this going and get this up. Take some time. I also have to get some time to show him. But it's a start, right? It's a start. Right?
That's great to see.
It's getting there. I mean, Wagner's also been, John's also been trying to get on me as well to do that for a while. He's actually gotten on me for a lot of things I still haven't done, but it's just time. We get 24 hours, just not enough time.
But you guys need to tell Glenn how much you'd love to see his content on his website in the next coming months. You got to see it. I mean, it's awesome, especially with the news that we saw today. There was a video out there, and and correct me if I'm wrong. Was it My Family's Arcade? He was the one that dropped it.
I believe it was. Yeah, he had an interview with him at the toy fair. Unfortunately, I was gonna go and I did not make it. Typical for me, but he did, and Scott was there, and he had a little interview. And he did ask him a couple of questions. One was, what's it going to go for? And Scott actually did give a pretty direct answer.
Yeah. I mean, Scott came out and told him flat out, $500. $500 is what they're, because originally, remember, we were hearing awesome. What, $500 to $600 was, and that's not to say that there's not going to be like specialty versions, right? Arcade 1-Up, they do specialty versions of, like, maybe they'll come out with one that comes with a stool. I don't know, but maybe that's why he said $500 to $600, but he seems pretty rock solid on that $500 price point.
It's amazing to hit the kind of price point. I know it's it's a smaller virtual pin. It's not like the full size pins, but even hit that price point with the feedback. You're talking about putting in solenoids, so you feel the ball hitting around in there. That's just stuff you don't really see, especially in that price point. He's gonna have a fairly nice size screen, have a DMD screen in the back. I wasn't down there, but Cool Toy and Retro Ralph did get their hands on it, and P-Dubs got their hands on it. and he said it felt good. You know, the legs were adjustable.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of things to throw in there for that price point, and I'm still got my eyes peeled to see how they're going to pull it off because it's supposed to have no lag. Again, cool toy. I tried it and played very well, so it's very interesting indeed.
What do you think, John?
Now, how are you going to find a? I'm sorry. How are you going to find a clear plastic bag big enough to cover it?
Ooh.
Oh, I'll find the bag. Don't you worry. The bigger problem is we're going to put 5 of them.
Okay.
That's the harder
Good
problem.
point.
That's the problem
That's
for
right.
everybody, right? Everybody's got all these cabinets and all these. I mean, now people are, you know, being picky about it, like what cabinets they're going to get.
Well, the good thing is these pinballs are going to have more than 3 or 4 games. They're going to have like 10 to 12 games on it. So, I mean, they're going to have a Bally version. They're going to have a, you know, a Disney Star Wars version, and they're hinting at a couple other versions as well. So, I think the Bally one would be kind of nice. I mean, Star Wars games I do like, but I think I would like maybe go more towards a Bally, a Midway style pinballs, just because of diversity. And then this way I don't have to look at the new Star Wars on half of my machine. I don't like that new Star Wars at all.
So
No secret.
So in some other news too, like last week we did a show, we talked about coin ops. And obviously coming from guys that are just kind of getting into it, we started playing with it because of the Legends Ultimate. And I by no means am an expert in any of that, but one of the things that I complained about, and I know Glenn, we talked about, and Doug talked about, is the configuration aspect of it. We kind of went into a little bit of that and how challenging that can be. I talked with some of the folks from CoinOps this week, and they said in the next update or the update after that, there is going to be in the CoinOps Next an easier way to configure everything to leave games. That is something they're willing to come on the show to kind of talk about some of that stuff, because obviously we have no clue what we're talking about with it. So I'll say I have no clue what I'm talking about when it comes to some of this stuff. But I did want to find out for the audience. I wanted them to get actual information from the company about it, because, you know, like we always say, if we don't know, we'll find somebody that does know. And so hopefully we can get them on if that comes out, and they can kind of explain, because I know a lot of you guys now with the Legends update, the firmware update, and I'll let Glenn talk a little bit about that. Now you can use a USB cable, which some of these guys that don't have a powerful PC or a graphics card can now use a USB cable. They're doing the front end with the At Games Legends. So did you get to play with that, Glenn?
I got the firmware down, and it's, of course, you know, I have days where nothing's happening, and then other days where like 5 things hit me at once. I'm working on a video now for Al Link. I actually got his light up marquee. So I was in the middle of now doing that video when they shot down the firmware last night. So that's something I'm planning to do this weekend. A few people have tried it. It seems to work pretty well. Again, it works pretty much the same as the Bluetooth connection. The only difference is there's really no lag at all. I mean, when we were playing each other, we were doing like turtles and stuff over the Bluetooth. There was a very minor lag. It really wasn't much. But now we're going over a USB A to A cable type of connection to the board. There shouldn't be any lag at all. So I haven't had much time on it. Actually, haven't had any time on it. But the setup looks fairly simple and straightforward. And it's a feature people have been asking for quite some time. And it just goes to show, once again, that At Games is in the community. They're listening to the community, and they're importing a lot of these features. Even Cool Toy with his Fire Stick. You know, how many people think about doing that? He suggested it. At Games goes, you know what? Yeah, we could do that. And they threw it in there. What I'm waiting for is for them to basically put something like this guy right here. If we can get this connected to our Legends
there
machine,
you go.
we'll be all set. Now, this, just so people just watching right now, this is actually a free 3D printed OpenCade by John from Wagner's Tech Talk. On his page, he actually has a way for you guys to print these, and you can see you put your own controls in here, and they're modular, so you can put
wait. I thought that was the Legends Gamer.
Oh,
you got an advanced copy of it. No, I'm kidding. We're having some fun here.
And they sent the advanced Wagner steering wheel attachment to it to put on there as well. Wagner's is very, very good. If people don't know his stuff, he does reviews on his web channel as well as on his website. But he also has his OpenCade project, which is basically you can 3D print these different modules for different things. So he'll talk about it more himself. He's even got my Tron joystick done into one. But they're very solid. And if you have a 3D printer or know someone who does, this is something that's a really neat little project, and it's very modular.
Yeah.
Thank you, Glenn.
We want to we're going to dig into that because we want to talk with you about that, and you've got some different guides
Sure.
and books to go with that as well. Now, Nick in the chat room says, "Hey, Steve, are you going to do a video on the legend stuff?" Probably. I just didn't get my cable yet because I was, like Glenn stated, I'm using the software, the Arcade Link, and it works great. So I really didn't really need to do that, but I think I'm going to do it just to see the difference because I know
Right.
Travis, who I respect since you introduced me to him, he states he's getting better quality, and that's kind of where my head went, ooh, instant quality. Okay, yeah, maybe I do want to do
Right.
this. So my cable comes
it's
tomorrow.
not a regular it's not a regular USB cable, in case people are out there thinking about it. You have a USB style A port on your laptop, and there's USB A ports on the
Right.
Legends Ultimate. So you basically need a double USB A cable. And of course, I have them. I've made them. They're not hard to make if you have a soldering iron, but you do have to purchase that cable. They're inexpensive because they're not a normal
Yeah, they're
cable.
not.
You don't generally go from an A style
But
connector like that to another one.
but
So
Glenn,
you
I
need a special
also
cable.
found out
Right.
if you have a USB-C on your computer, if you have a USB-C input, or you could take the USB male, or A as you call it, out to USB-C into your PC. If you have one of
Oh
those
yeah,
from like a cell phone, I don't on my PC,
yep.
unfortunately, but you can
So
do that.
is that USB 3.0 or 2.0?
It's
Well, it
2.0.
doesn't matter as far as that goes. The cable is
No?
just a double male. I'm gonna go grab one right now just so I can show people what we're talking about. In case
Well,
they,
you grab
in case
that,
they
but I
need it.
want to while he's grabbing that, I want to show you guys. So this week we've been busy while Glenn's going to get that. I got us. A lot of you guys have been asking about merchandise. A lot of you guys have been asking about podcast. We wanted to get everything narrowed down. I should say, I wanted to get everything narrowed down with video and audio before we decided to upload anything to iTunes or any of that. This week was the launch. If you guys are interested and you catch half of the show or you want to go back and watch other shows, you can subscribe to this. We have both a video version, as you'll notice, this is the video version. It doesn't say audio only on the podcast art, but if you search in your favorite podcast catcher, whether it be Apple iTunes, whether it be Google Play, Spotify, Pandora, Deezer, Anchor, I mean, there's a ton of them out there. I think I've put us into like 15 or 20 different platforms that are out there. So whatever it is, if you want the audio only, you're driving to work, you missed the show Friday night, and I understand people have lives. It's Friday night. You didn't get to watch us
They
live.
do?
Yeah, they're not like us. And you want to listen to it without the video, you can go back and download it on your favorite podcast option. We also have the Roku app. You can watch if you search the Tech Buzz Network or the Tech Buzz on your Roku. You can download that. Also, Fire TV, the same thing. We are getting the Roku app updated to kind of fit more the Retro Buzz theme. So that should happen in the next couple months. You'll be able to also watch a previous episode or watch live like you can now with the Roku app. So just bear with us. We finally got Glenn situated here, so I'm just kidding. He's just an easy target tonight.
I am. Here's the just in case people need to see. This is the cable. So it's just basically a double male on both sides type of cable, and you need to connect one end to your PC and then one to. I think he said it was only the left USB port will work. The other one will not.
Yep.
So once you do that, you go into the settings, and I think we got to change the setting in there to OTB. Right?
OTG
Connector.
OTG.
OTG. OTG.
You know how I
That's
remember
like
that? Old tech guy.
That's a good way to remember.
Of course.
OTG, old tech guy.
But it's something I want to try out. But right now, I got to say, I've been messing with Al Link's active display, and I friggin' love it. So I started working on it, and had to go to help my neighbor out yesterday, so I didn't finish it. So this weekend, I'm gonna put it in and do a video on it. But it looks really, really nice, and I've been talking a lot with At Games as well, because there's an API for it, which is an application programming interface, and they weren't sure if they wanted to do it, but I think they're convinced that this would be a nice thing to add to the At Games Legends. So they're gonna probably work on it. So as you select a game on that machine, the top will then change for the game on there as well. And of course, it also works with Arcade 1-Up. It works with, I think, Coin Ops. So
yes.
I was talking to Al about that yesterday, and he's pretty sure he has it working in CoinOps, but it works also in Lunchbox, Big Box, any other pretty much emulator I think you have. So it's definitely.
What about Toy Box?
I think it actually works in my Toy Box. I mean, it's here, but I will say, the quality is really, really good, but it's also I don't want to say complicated, but you have to definitely take your time setting it up. Once it's set up, it should be rock solid. The other cool thing he added is now it supports a DMD. So if you're doing like virtual pinball, his screen will now become the DMD for the pinball machine, and that is going to look really good on the machine, Arcade One Up or an Arcade machine or whatever. That's a huge selling point. So I'll have a video on that one soon.
Awesome.
Yeah, very cool.
Now let's turn our attention to our guest of honor. We want to try to get some news out before
I forgot
we
he
get
was
into
here.
this. Yeah, no, he's been jumping in, man. Come on. So John, for those that don't know who you are, tell them a little bit about yourself, how you got into this whole spiel, and what you're doing. I know you got a lot of cool stuff you're doing with arcade mods and things like that. So the floor is yours.
All right. Well, I guess probably about 2 years ago, I was talking to a gentleman, John, over at You Do It, and posted a video. And he looked at it on Facebook, which is where I originally posted the video. He said, "Dude, you really need to get on YouTube." And I thought about it for a little while. I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I want to dedicate, the time and effort to do that. So on the next project, I went ahead and decided to try and record it, and I did, and it was kind of fun, trying to figure out the editing software and that kind of stuff. And so I posted a video, and um, just kind of got hooked on it at that point. I started with arcade machines. I found an arcade cabinet. It was completely empty. Found it on the side of the road. Well, actually, it was by a dumpster, and brought it home. And my son and I went to work on it and rebuilt the entire cabinet. I still have it in the game room today, and it's great. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, that's kind of how I got started, and then I just kept going, taking another video one at a time, and started trying to come up with something that I think people might enjoy. And sometimes you succeed, sometimes you don't.
That's hard to do these days. You always get those people.
Yep. But it's been fun. I really enjoy doing it, and I like trying to help people learn something new, something that they haven't tried, and I learned something new in the process.
So with what you're doing more or less a lot of mods more than anything, right? You're doing mods to like handhelds, to arcades, to what Glen showed earlier, right?
A little bit. I kind of mix it up. Sometimes I'll do a review on a product, or I might do a modification. Like I did one yesterday. I released a video yesterday on the RG350 mod. I didn't create the 3D models or anything. I purchased it, modified it, and made a video about how to do it. But some of the stuff I have created myself, like the OpenCade that Glenn mentioned at the beginning. So when I do stuff like that, I typically I've always provided it free online for anyone else who's interested in doing the same. And that's just something that I like doing.
Glen, I mean, this is something you and we talked about when we started doing this, and we talked with Doug about. We wanted to bring people in from the YouTube community that we both seen, mainly in this space that you've seen, that are making an impact, making a difference in the way we are doing things. And John's doing that. I mean, he's creating things that
Correct.
You're using and other people are using. I think it's great to showcase that. I mean, what kind of brought you into meeting John? I mean, what was it that grabbed there? Did he reach out to you?
He actually, I received an IM one day saying that he had some of my parts, and he was building this 3D OpenCade, and he wanted to send me one. And I took a look at it, and it looked really, really neat. And he sent it to me, and it is. I mean, I have a 3D printer, and I talked to him about it a couple of times. I can print the best string mesh you ever want to see. I think I made 2 little owls that came out pretty good. After that, it's just a mess. So John sent them over, and they're really nice. And two things I really love about it. One, it's open source, so if you can take it, you can modify it, make changes to it. But if you want to make something very custom, you can do that. And the kits are very easy. When you print them, the holes for all the items are already there for a Raspberry Pi, or just make an external USB controller. You have options of using like my style controls or any kind of controller. And you can make it as big or small, 1 or 2 player, anything that you want to do with it. And I thought that was a really interesting idea. I know on Thingiverse, a lot of people make all these different types of things, but he's making something where it's very modular and you can add or subtract to it as you need it. And you can make it all inclusive, almost like like the at games, a gamer device or a Pandora's box, or just make it a controller for something else. And he's also a great guy. He's helpful. He's always in the community throwing out ideas. And like I said, the 3D prints like this thing here, we were talking about it, and he's like, "Oh, I could probably do a steering wheel." And my spinner, he made this steering wheel for it. And then this steering wheel, you may be seeing it also on the Legends Ultimate. That's the gentleman who made it, modified John's original design here for the Glen's Retro Show spinner. So his stuff's even going well beyond his own thoughts of the way things are going. And he's always in the community. He's always doing reviews. He's got a lot of these little handhelds. What was that last review that you really liked? That new gaming portable. I forgot what it was.
The RG350.
The RG350, right?
Yep.
So he does things like that. He's constantly reaching out to me, saying, "Listen, check this out," and they're all good stuff. I mean, like Travis Tech Talks, Wagner's right there with him. Great ideas, great personality, and he's making great stuff for the community.
Thank you, Glenn. I appreciate that.
I'll take the $20 in the mail later.
and P-Dubs, that sure beats our little idea of the PVC and the Wii steering wheel. No, Travis will be joining us at some point too. Yeah.
Awesome. One thing I'd like to say is what really prompted me originally to contact Glenn and at least mention OpenCade to him was I had designed the early version of OpenCade, and I had this control panel that was all set up with a joystick and some buttons. And I was like, I really want to add a trackball, and I really want to add a spinner. But at the time when I was looking around on Amazon and eBay and all these other sources, I couldn't find anything that I wanted to put in there. I'm like, it's got PS2 connectors going out, or some other custom connector. I was like, no, I want to put a Pi in here. I want something that's USB. And at the time, there was nothing like that. And then I started seeing some posts and a few videos from Glenn. I was like, this is perfect. I need this for OpenCade. So I started talking to Glenn about it. And I was like, maybe if I just send him one, maybe he'll, like the idea and, want to kind of partner in a way, work out how I can design something for his stuff. So I shipped him one, and it's been great. I mean, Glenn's a wonderful guy. I really like you, Glenn. You're a good fella.
Oh, I got it. I got to give it $20 back already.
Yeah. There we go. We're even.
That was quick.
Oh my goodness. No, but this is how the stuff. I mean, you're buying these cheaper than real arcades, right? You're buying these 3/4 scale arcades, and people are wanting them to do things that regular arcades can do, or maybe they can't, or maybe you can do it at a fraction of the price. So guys like you that are out there in the community that are building stuff, whether it's 3D printing it or just collaborating with other people, presenting a product that actually works for these devices, I think that's really cool. I think that says it all, collaboration. Okay, the show's over. We can go now. No.
Yeah.
No, but John, you did want to show. You wanted to show how you do all this stuff, right?
Yeah. If you don't mind.
Yeah, we can absolutely do that. So I'm going to pull it up here, and John's going to kind of talk over it. I could skip through. It's probably going to start from the beginning here. Do you want me to skip through all this?
That's fine. Yeah.
We're going to kind of
don't mind.
Jump through his. There's your OpenCade.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I want to make sure it's on there so that people that subscribe, they can see where to go with that. But go ahead.
And another thing to mention too is his videos are very professionally done as well. So he does a really good job with these.
Take notes, Glenn.
I always do.
Sorry.
I take bad notes, but I always do.
Well, here I am. This is the software that I use. It's MOI 3D, and I started using it a couple years ago, and I really wanted to teach myself how to build something that I can 3D print. So I started with this isn't the first thing I designed, but this is the base for it. And the reason why I wanted to see this clip, or wanted you to see this clip, is just because it's easier to see that than if I hold it up to the camera. You can't see it very well.
Mhm.
But anyway, where the arrows are, that's where the Raspberry Pi goes at the top, and the bottom's the encoder. And you can configure this either with front buttons or without front buttons. And the sides are for expansion. So you can move from one box to another. So you can route your wires from one box to another. There's the connections for your Raspberry Pi. And then you can, attach different pieces to it, which you're not going to see here. You can actually put armrests or palm rests rather, and side rests to it to expand it such that it's very comfortable to use. And this is the control panel. And this one is a little bit of cramped, but there are multiple panels that you can download. Like if you don't want all those buttons on one panel, you can put your select and start and joystick on the left. And on the right-hand side, you can have your 6 or 8 buttons. There's also an empty panel. So if you want, you could customize the panel however you want. So you aren't stuck with just what I provide. You can, do whatever. Additionally, there are panels for Glen's. I guess I should, while you have it up here, see the little notch up there? Since this video, that has actually gone down deeper. So you can use this to feed a cable out the back. So if you don't want to put a Pi in there, and let's say you want to use the Tron joystick or the spinner, you can attach that to a control panel and hook this up to a PC, and you can play Tron or whatever games you want, Afterburner, you name it. You could play it connected up to your PC, and not put a Pi in here. So it's really customizable. It's however you want to build the unit. There are cover plates that you can put on the right-hand side or left-hand side. There's also a USB out. So if you want to put in a USB female connector where you can connect an external joystick or a keyboard, if you're going in setting up MAME or what have you, you can you can configure it however you want.
John, watching this and seeing how this is, I'm going to pause this real quick, and then I'm going to come back to us for just a second here. What I think is I got an idea of doing this because Glenn, you just brought out those Tron joysticks, right? And so right now, the way it works is you have to take out the joysticks in order to make them work with the Legends cabinet. But if John builds extensions for the Legends that slide down the side, and you mount the Tron joysticks in there, you can actually wire them into it and leave them connected at all times. I'm being serious here. I'm
correct.
You could slide, John. You could make something that slides right over because it overhangs a little bit. That lips on there, and you could have those flight yokes all the time hooked up, wired into the control panel, so you could play either games or you could play with the flight sticks.
Exactly.
So now I get the $20.
You do. But that's the beauty of that thing. It's modular. You can make all these kind of changes to it. You can use it for all these different configurations, or even, like I said, a Pi, a PC as a controller, as a whole inclusive device. It's just very, very well thought out and modifiable.
I guess I don't get my $20. He already did it.
Of course he did. I was just waiting for him to come up with it.
That's sweet. That's exactly what I was thinking. Where it just sits on you attach it to where you're not disconnecting and reconnecting it. Because I haven't installed Glen's yet, and I want to, but I want to leave it up all the time for certain games. I mean, that's
it.
Well, the good thing about it is you can put in your player 2 spot now with the firmware.
True. Now, P-Dubs asked in the chat room, and this is for John, if somebody wants to get started inside of 3D printing and wants to try to venture out, maybe to download your files and do it, what is a good 3D printer to start off with. Is there one that you could kind of share, maybe put in a link, or maybe do a video on later if you can't do it off the top of your head?
I actually have a couple of videos. They're not very good. It was back when I was not very good at video editing at all. Not that I'm any good now, but it was really bad back then. Uh, but I use a FlashForge Creator Pro. I'm not necessarily recommending that at this point because it is a printer that's probably about 2.5 years old.
Right, and a lot happens in that time frame. A lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and I'm not one to go out and buy one, just because, so I don't have a more recent printer to recommend to you at this point. But check around, do some searches on YouTube, and find one that looks pretty good to you at a good price. Uh, some of the things to look for are: do you want a single extruder or a dual extruder? I got a dual extruder, and I thought, yeah, I'm going to be using the heck out of that. Well, in reality, I only use pretty much one nozzle. So basically, what I mean is there's actually two locations where the filament feeds down into the printer, and you can print in, green or blue or what have you. Um, but I use that very rarely. In fact, I've only used it twice. So, do you need a dual extruder? Probably not. So that cuts the price down quite a bit, if you look at it that way. And PLA is rather cheap. Like, to print out one of these bases, um, I could probably print 2 1/4 of these bases. Let me hold it up here so you can see it. It takes a little while to print. It takes probably about 15 to 17 hours or so for
Wow.
just this base. So it does take a while, but it is thick, it's sturdy, and should be able to hold uh, your controls together very well.
Now,
So mhm.
how hard is it for somebody that's never done 3D printing? How hard is it for them to pick up? I mean, Glenn's laughing. I know Glenn said about his is all
I'll let
spaghetti.
Glenn answer this one.
Well, I was just going to say that the printer, it does depend on the printer. I have a i3 Mega, which is a very good printer. It's got a good base on it, but mine just came warped. And I've been dealing with the company to get a new base, and every time they send it, it was worse and worse and worse. So if you don't have a good base and it's not perfectly flat, what happens is your printer will start printing, and it's either going to lift or just start misprinting. So if you get a printer and there's no problem with your base, usually you'll be fine, because you can go right to Thingiverse, literally just download it, slice it, and it does the work. But the real beauty of 3D printing is something I'm not good at, and John is getting pretty good at, is the designing. You want to be able to actually design something and then make it. It's fine to bring it down and print it, but it's always better you need something, you make it and print it. So I will say that printers in the past 2 years, mine's about 2 years old. Actually, mine is 2 years old as of beginning of this month. The technology has gotten a lot better. So it's getting cheaper with better components, like anything. So the printers today are a little bit more forgiving, but it does come down to, if you get something that's not perfectly calibrated, it doesn't matter how good you are. If it's not calibrated, the printout's going to be horrible. Your first layer base is where everything's going to be based off of. And if that's not right, it's going to be, a mess.
That's true.
But it's very fun, Steve. I tell you, when you see this thing, you first put it on, you come back in 5 minutes, you come back in an hour, you come back sometimes in 24 hours, and you just see that there was nothing there before, and then just see this thing slowly get created there. I mean, it's
awesome.
Pretty wild. It's pretty wild. And
For
you'd be
a couple weeks, I
surprised.
just kept staring at it, going, "This is amazing."
Yeah. You hear that sound, and you'd be surprised how small the dots it makes. That's why it takes so long. You said it takes about 8 hours, you were saying, or 14 hours
17
to print that
14.
base. The dots there are literally like a period of a pen. I mean, they're really tiny, and it's got to build that up all the way around. And then it depends on how much, what they call infill, you want to use. So when you're building something, you could do 100% infill, which is going to make it obviously very solid, but also cost more because using all the filament, and time's going to go up. It's got to make every single spot. If you do maybe a 50% infill, you could have part of that be air, and it makes like a structure inside, like honeycombs, to use up less filament and save time. You could be a cheap sucker like me and do like 5%, and then it just falls apart the entire time. But there's a lot of things that go on with it. I think, though, the other thing, too, is you have to have what's called a slicer. And when you download something from Thingiverse or create something yourself, the slicer is actually the program that takes that model and does what it says. It slices it into little pieces that the printer will then print it out. And some slices are easy to use and they cost a lot of money. And some are free that you'd rather strangle yourself than use. So you kind of find that happy medium. I think some printers, maybe John can tell me here, I think some printers these days come with a fairly decent slicer. Mine did not. Mine was got to find your own, and it's just not been the best of experiences with that.
My printer came with one. Actually, no, it came with a freeware one, and then shortly after I received it, they did release something called Flash Print. And I tell you what, I have not needed any other slicer. It does everything I need it to, and matter of fact, it does some things that I really didn't know I needed, and it was there. It was a pretty cool option, like being able to slice a large model into smaller pieces, so you can, build something larger than the actual size of the bed. So that is another thing to look at is take a look at the type of things that you're going to want to print and make sure that the printer that you decide on has a bed large enough to print that. Like I believe this, and I'll have to look at the website because I can't remember, but I think it's like 8.5 by 9 inches bed on my particular printer. So you want to pick one. If you want to print these up, you want to make sure that the bed size on the 3D printer is large enough to be able to print the dimensions of the object that you're wanting to print.
So how
another thing on top of what he just said there is there are printers that like mine's I think a 220 by 220 by 210 size building. So some people go, I'm going to buy the 500 by 500. Then it comes to your house, and like, holy, it's huge. So you have to be careful of that too. You got to make sure you're not getting a printer bigger than the space you have available.
So how long did it take you? How long did it take you to? Obviously, there's some CAD design that you need to know a little bit, right? With designing the 3D elements of the box. I mean, it's not just. I guess what I'm trying to stress to people, kind of the same way I talk to people about the broadcasting stuff, is you don't just buy the equipment because you have the money if you don't know how to use it. Otherwise, you've got a $500, $600, $700 paperweight in a 3D printer. I guess what I want to stress is like what type of time are they looking at before they're even going to print anything? Like how much time does one need to do? What they buy the printer, they sit down with the instruction manual, then what? What happens?
All right. Okay, you're talking about two different things. You're talking about the design on one and then talking about just printing.
Yeah,
okay.
Just in general.
All right. For the first question about the design, I had some time off work during the holidays. It was around November to December a couple of years ago. And I used a lot of time, late nights and so forth, and during the day working on learning some software. And I tried several different packages. I tried SketchUp, I tried Inventor, and they didn't operate the way I would have imagined a design software should work. And that's just me, the way I think. I'm sure it's great for many other people, and I'm sure they can design rings around what I design. So, I'm not saying anything negative about the software, but it just didn't work for me. So then I started looking at other places, and I saw a video that came out on MOI 3D, and I thought, well, I'll try that. So I tried it, downloaded the demo, and I was like, okay, this works the way I think 3D design software should work. So based on that, I got in contact with the developer of it and told him I was interested in it, and I asked a few questions on the forums. I spent probably a month and a half learning the basics of it to where I felt comfortable designing something that I would wind up posting. And the first one was actually a restrictor plate that you use for a joystick. So if you want to restrict the movement from an 8 to a 4-way, then you could use this plate and just screw it in on top of your existing joystick, and it would restrict movement. And then there were these little adapters that you could swap out. So if you want to go from 4-way to 8-way, you don't have to take the whole control panel apart. You can just swap out the plates.
So that's a month and a half, though, of without you working. That's a month and a half.
Well, it's part of it was vacation time, part of it was evenings.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like
altogether.
it's time that you would have normally been at work. So for a person that maybe didn't have vacation time, you're looking at maybe what, 3 months?
Late nights, yeah.
Yeah,
maybe
3 months of late nights.
3 months.
before you're doing
Possibly.
anything, and like a restrictor plates, like those little. I mean, they're tiny.
Well, then after that, it got a lot easier. Then it was like, okay, I know the basics. I mean, it's not going to take that long to get up to speed on the software. That's how long it took me. Just experimenting with different things, and most people probably pick it up a lot faster. But it wouldn't be,
I'm watching Glen's reaction to this because he's saying,
Well,
it should get easier. Most people pick it up, and
It
Glen's
should.
sitting there going like this.
Well, the thing is, like you're saying, there's two different parts to it, because if you got a decent printer and a slicer, you go right to Thingiverse, you just download something, put in the SD card, and it's going to go. That's it.
Yeah.
As long as your printer is calibrated, it's just going to work. You can do it within minutes. It's when you want to design your own things, and I think that's
It's
really
only one.
when it comes.
Yeah.
When it comes to these 3D printers, I mean, it's fine printing other people's work. Printing little Darth Vaders is awesome, or Baby
Yeah.
Yoda. Baby Yoda, come on, you can make your own Baby Yodas.
That's right.
That stuff is cool, but I think the ultimate thing, especially in our hobby, is you want to be able to 3D print. There was actually a gentleman, I don't want to mention his name, but he was at a time making mini like Coleco clones and 3D printing them, and they were pretty amazing. I mean, he was doing really amazing things with 3D printing everything other than the electronics. That is like a big promise to the technology. As a matter of fact, I have my machines back here, part breaks, a button breaks. You can 3D print a new button. A new joystick handle, all that could be done, because you can print in PLA, which is like a plastic, actual plastic, but you can even do metal. People don't realize you can print wood, you can print metal, and so you can do a lot of different parts. You can print little Legos that you can step on in the middle of the night without having to buy real Legos.
Glenn, here's your homework assignment. I want an At Games Legends 3D printed sign that I can put behind me for the show. So you think you can have it printed by next?
Not expecting me to make it.
Oh, you think you can have it printed by next week? I think that would look pretty cool. Or an arcade 1-up one that we could set up here on the, hang on the wall.
Well, if someone out there,
no, Mister, you have you know how to do it.
I am the crew. I can print.
I know John probably could do it. I'm talking about you.
It took me about a month and a half. I'll teach Glenn in a couple hours. Yeah.
A couple hours a day.
No.
You saw the Hunchback of Notre Dame. That's the Art Games thing you're gonna get. It's gonna be all like like that. So I'm cool.
No, but that's really awesome. I mean, to be able to do some of this stuff, because also you mentioned about Raspberry Pis and whatnot. So I assume you make your own Raspberry Pi cases. I know Amazon sells them and whatnot, but I'm sure you probably make your own, right?
I've printed a few of my own, yes. Yeah. I haven't designed any of my own.
Oh, okay.
Except for this, when technically it is, a Raspberry Pi case, just in an arcade format.
Right. If you go on Thingiverse, you can type in just about anything. A Raspberry Pi case, like a Darth Vader Baby Yoda.
Thingiverse is where I got the arcade 1-up coin buttons. So without modding the holes, somebody actually printed them for me. And they use the existing hardware inside of there. So you take the switches out and you take the button tops off, so you can actually press the coin down on it, and it fits in that oval spot on my modded cabinet. But it's just they're 3D printed buttons. That's it. And that's on Thingiverse.
Right,
I think it's like $10 or something.
Right, exactly. With Thingiverse, you're more than welcome to download the file and print it on your own. But if you can't, like me, or not properly, you can have them print it for you for a small fee, depending on different factors. But they're usually pretty inexpensive, and everyone who's gotten stuff from there has always said it's been good quality for 3D printouts.
Oh, so. Yeah, it worked out pretty good. So John, what is the new project? I saw, earlier you told me that there's a new book that you have on your website that you wanted to talk about. So I'll pull that up. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. One of the handhelds that I've been working with quite a bit recently is this RG350, and let's see.
Yeah, I'll do that first before we go to the website with it.
All right, so I put some recent mods on here. Okay, those are the buttons. There we go. The sticks over here. These they're 3D printed. It uses, I believe it was SLA, not SLA. I don't remember. He just told me this morning what he used. It was a resin filament type printer. It's not using traditional PLA or ABS that I'm used to. So I'm not quite up to speed on it. But anyway, I've been working with this device for a little while, coming up with, I've got a lot of help from other people who have purchased this particular device. And, they send me tips. I started out with my own tips, and then they sent me tips. And, a lot of great people who are helping contribute to improving this web page. But on this page, you go to wagnerstechtalk.com/, was it RG350 tips, I believe. And you come here, and basically at the beginning, I kind of step through, when I picked up this RG350, and then there's a table of contents just down just a little bit more. There we go. And from here, you can find out a lot of things that you might be interested in, such as, how do you add a TI 99 4A emulator to it, or an Amiga emulator? It can run all of these different types of emulated consoles and arcade games. You can play MAME. And anyway, there's tons of information on there. There's also stuff for this modding that was added yesterday. So yeah, all
That's really
kinds of
cool.
stuff. If you're interested in retro handheld gaming, this might be something for you. And
And the book,
also
can you
goes
get that
into some.
on the book? You can get on Amazon.
No, it's not a purchasable book.
Oh,
That
it's
is your
right
book
here.
right
Yeah,
there.
I just realized that. I'm
Yeah,
going through it.
yeah,
This is the
yeah.
actual
That's
book.
actually, yep.
Wow.
It's not something I sell. Everything I do, I pretty much provide for free. Um, you know, so that's it. There's also one for the Pocket Go version 2. It's not as comprehensive as what you see for the RG350, but it also goes in through, how to set up Daphne, for instance, if you are interested in playing the Laserdisc games like Dragon's Lair or Space Ace on these handhelds. You can do that. What kind of micro SD cards will work with this, and save you the time of watching the entire video. I put on 512 gigabytes, and it worked great. So that's on both handhelds, the RG350 and the Pocket Go version 2. So yeah, I hope that information's helpful to somebody who's looking to get a handheld that they can play their favorite retro games on.
Oh, we just got a super chat from Mr. Retro Ralph. He wanted to
And
thank John.
there
They
he
got
is.
the keys for all the emulators. Was a pain. Yep. So Retro Ralph, thanks, bud. The hotkeys.
Thank you.
Because setting up those hotkeys were a pain. So he's thanking you for them.
Hey, do me a favor, Glenn. Reread that
Very
because
welcome.
your internet cut out on that one.
Yeah,
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
I thought it was mine. I'm checking the router.
No. It was Glenn. He like froze for a few seconds. Say that. Read it again.
Okay, well, we got a super chat from Mr. Retro Ralph. We got a huge thanks to John's
Thank
FAQ on the RG350. He said he got the keys for all the emulators. It was a pain, and his site had all the info. He said thanks a lot to you, John.
You're very
So
welcome,
big kudos
Retro
to you
Ralph.
from Retro Ralph.
Awesome.
Very welcome, sir.
Yeah, I just because when people send in a super chat, I wanted to make sure you started to read it, and I was like, okay, Glenn, you like giving this dramatic effect or what? And then all of a sudden, it just was like it threw it out. Like
perfect timing.
When you listen to it on the recording, you're gonna laugh. You're gonna know exactly what I meant by that. But no, that's really good information. That was one of the reasons, guys, we wanted to bring John on here, because a lot of you guys like to mod. I am a guy, like if I see somebody like Ralph do it or somebody else, and I think I can do it by watching it, or I sit there and I see a guy like Ralph do it, and I sit there and he's blown up this board and blown up, I won't even attempt it. And I understand it goes with, I understand it goes with the territory. I really do. But I'm more of the guy like, okay, if it's dead set easy, I'd rather just turn the machine on and play it. Like I just remember the days of the Hackintosh, and I just have no patience for it anymore. That's why I see a lot of guys.
Some things are easier than others. I mean, I'll do it, but when it comes to like virtual pinball, I definitely want to gouge my eyes out. I know Retro Ralph.
That's why my Toy Shock is the way it is, and I won't mod it because I need a step-by-step guide that's guaranteed. I buy these parts, connect it, and it'll work. And put this monitor in it. because otherwise I'm not even going to attempt it because it's fine
Well,
the
the
way it
hardware is
is.
not the hard part. It's not the hardware. It's virtual
The
pinball
software
software.
is
You just want
very
to blow your
difficult.
brains out.
Yeah.
Another friend of mine, Dwayne Ringo, helped me make that small pinball machine, and he's been helping me for a while. And I had it working years ago. Years ago, I had it working, and then XP is gone, and 7 and 10 has come out, and it doesn't work now. And I've tried, 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 and
But
I've given up.
have you
I've
tried?
given up.
Have you tried?
See, I gave up before I tried.
I tried as well. About a year ago. I was messing around with VPN software and I had the large 32-inch screen and my wife's old laptop and was putting this thing together, and it was a nightmare. I wound up fortunately the monitor died on me, so I had to throw the monitor out, and that was my excuse not to pick it up again.
Well, see, that's kind of why I didn't do it. I seen a couple guys
Right.
like Ralph and Detroit Love burn out monitors. I've seen them burn out the adapter thingies, and it's not like throwing a RetroPie
Hey,
and a
you are
Raspberry
not
Pi.
a modern until you get blue smoked in the face. You're not a modern until you get
Yeah.
shocked, burned,
I've done that.
inhaled toxic smoke. Until you've done that, you're not a modern.
I'm not a modder. I'll be the first to admit it. Like I modded the arcade one up and put a Raspberry Pi in it, but it was because it was laid out step by step. I mean, you can't screw it up if you buy the right part and you follow the instructions, right? It's like anything. You can't screw it up.
Although sometimes I find a way.
Well, I was just gonna say, now if I talk to Michael Mann or Stevie Richard, he'll probably argue that point. He'll be like, "No, I'm the 3%. I could follow the instructions and I'll get bum buttons." And he did. He got bum buttons. Like, I'm like, just order the buttons. They'll be fine. Half of them didn't work. He got them from where he bought them. So I was kind of like, I felt so bad for the guy because I'm like, yeah, he said it. He said it. I could follow the instructions and still something goes wrong. So I shouldn't say that. But no, I don't consider myself a modder. If you've got everything laid out, I'll try to follow it unless it looks like something like Glenn, you're gonna pull your hair out. Forget it.
That's why I'm wearing the hat, bud. That's why I'm wearing the hat. Virtual pinball did it to me, and it's a shame because again, you would think pinball would be so much easier, but you got to install the VP software, then you got to get the DMD software, then you got to get the front end software, then you need to get the tables, then you got the table ROMs, then you got to go get a gun, you got to put it in your mouth, you got to pull the trigger because you just can't take it anymore. You can't take it anymore. So like in coin ops, you have Pinball FX 2 and 3, and those are really good.
Yeah,
they're really good, and I enjoy them. But they're still not a true recreation where VP virtual pin MAME is. But they're fun enough where I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that because I really have given up on actual virtual pinball. It's just too much of a headache.
I've got a good friend that's actually he's got one in his house that he purchased the cabinet, and it was all pretty much ready for him to go. He just had to load up his games and stuff. And man, I'm envious. I mean, to have a working VPN and all that, it's pretty cool. I haven't seen it personally, but he's told me a lot about it.
So there's this guy.
Yeah, and okay, I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was gonna say there's this guy that Angel was talking about, and somebody messaged me before we should have him on the show. His name is Bobby VU, I guess. He made a really cool. I said, introduce us. I said, I don't know the guy, but I'm sure Glenn would be happy. He modded some virtual pinballs and things like that. That does a really good job. So I mean, hey, anything people can learn from him.
He's in a lot of the forums. He does a lot of things, Bobby. So yeah, he's got quite a few out there. And again, I take my hat off to these guys. I mean, I guess once you get it working, just clone that drive and don't make any changes.
That's what I used to do with the Hackintoshes, and you learn what kexts to use and what not to use, and what sound drivers to use. But
my other problem that I have is that I'm glad John makes these books is you figure it out. I spend time. I'll spend a month. I figure it out. Get everything working great. Then I'm on to the next project, and then I come back in like a year. I'm like, oh man, how did I do that? I did it. How did I do it? And I don't remember. So when you go to someone like Wagner's page where the document's there and he keeps it updated, as Steve, as you know, because you can have a tutorial that's a piece of cake, but it's out of date and then it doesn't work. And I found a couple tutorials on virtual pinball. Actually, one was from Game Room Solutions, my nemesis name, and I tried to follow it to the letter, and it didn't work. It was stuff missing. Again, it was a video a year or two old, but I wish someone would make a new video, because people would definitely like to make their own pinball machines. I know I would.
Yeah, I would too.
And the tutorials out there right now, none of them work. They're all out of date.
Mhm.
And it's usually a lot of these guys, like I've noticed with the coin ops people, they know a lot, but they're not the type of people that get on video and that talk. They could probably document things. So that's probably why a lot of tutorials aren't done. But we're going to have to wrap up the main show, and you guys want to stick around for post show. If you got questions for John, you can feel free to call in. But John, we really appreciate you jumping on here. Guys, check out John
Thank you
Wagner.
so much for having me.
Absolutely. Go to wagnerstechtalk.com. You can also subscribe to him on YouTube. Anywhere else, John?
Just no, that's pretty much. Well, I do have a Facebook page as well, facebook.com/Wagner's Tech Talk. So you can find me in a lot of places.
So you don't have a Santa's list of stuff like Glen does? I mean, I'd be here all night if I had to go through all that.
I don't have a Facebook group for RG350 Pocket Go 2. You know, I'm just kidding.
Oh, look at this.
No, just the one. Oh yeah,
he's over here
I
driving.
didn't really like that one,
even though he's using the steering wheel backwards. But we also have Mr. Mickey Mouse himself paying homage to Doug, who's down in Florida. So
hope he's having a good time. Hope he's having a good time down there. We miss him, but you know what? He's got Baby Yoda probably all over the place down there, and he's building his own lightsaber. So, you know,
no, it's not Baby Yoda. It's the child. Say it right.
The child.
It's not.
Is
Baby
it called
Yoda.
the child? That was always told as Baby Yoda.
Hold on one second. I'll be right back.
Every package that you look at now that's officially marked, it's called the child. It's not called Baby Yoda.
Wow, we need to start a petition going. I'm putting my foot in the sand right here on Dagobah, right here, and I'm still calling it Baby Yoda.
Okay.
Live Baby Yoda.
Oh, here we go. We've got a 3D printed Baby Yoda, or the child. Oh, Glen's getting up now too.
This one hadn't been painted yet.
That's all right. That's a start. Well, Glen's is probably hollow.
Hopefully, no. I just hope Doug can make one. This is one of my prized possessions. My Darth Vader lightsaber.
Oh yes, is that the Black Series?
That's cool.
You know what? This I've had a long time. I think it is the Black Series.
That's the one I have on my shelf behind
really
me.
Good.
I love it. That's when I do when I go out onto troops, as John knows from being in the 50, what is it, the 501
501st
501st as they call it. When we went out and did parades and things like that, I always carried the Black Series saber because it was the awesomest at night, lit up really good. So but we've got Darth Glen in the house with his Mickey Mouse ears, and he looks very scary to most. But you guys can check out Glen. Go to youtube.com/Glen's Retro Show and everywhere else.
Or just go on the internet. It's everywhere.
Just go everywhere.
Go on the internet. I'm going to pop up somewhere.
Yes. So if you guys downloaded the audio podcast of the show, you definitely want to go back and watch the video to see Darth Glen. So, well, we'll see you guys next week. Who do we have, Glen? Who do we have next week that's on the show? Since you've been doing all the scheduling, it's been
what? Hold
great,
on,
actually.
Let's check. That's another thing too. We have quite a few people lined up, and I got to check because we have quite a few people. So next week,
we're booked.
We have
April.
Yes. Next week, let's see. What is today? 28th. Oh, Travis.
We've got Travis.
Travis MCP will be on next week.
So
and he's actually in the chat room. Hey, what's up, Travis? We'll see you next week, bud.
So that's what you get to look forward to next week. We got Travis. It'll be a great time. So, guys, make sure you stick around here for post-show, those that are watching live. If not, we'll see you next week here on the Retro Buzz.
Bye.
And kick back the audio on. All right. That was perfect timing with that. That was like, that was pretty good. I love that. I have mine on the shelf behind me. You can't really see it. It's down along the bottom. Where they?
Yeah, I mean, these are nice.
They're expensive, but they're nice.
Yeah, but you know what? They're worth things like this. You know, are definitely worth, especially if you're a fan.
Yes.
It's just a really nice piece to have.
I have the couple
Yeah.
cheap ones too of the Darth Vader, but I have the Black Series. That's kind of why I bought the Black Series helmet. I know it's cheaper than even the Ruby Supreme, but it's got all the detail work on the inside of the helmet from like the movie and the detachable face where it makes that when you pull it off.
Oh wow,
Oh yeah, the helmet
that's
here
pretty cool.
it's pretty killer.
Is that still available anymore, or that was like a thing and it's done?
I think
I
it's
have
still
the lightsabers that have the cone.
So let me see if I can pull this in. So the whole helmet, I'll pull this off, but the detail
wow.
on it
Yeah.
has,
It's impressive. Most impressive.
yeah, it uses the
From
magnets.
that angle, it looked like a bondage helmet.
Yeah, but it's got the magnets on it for attaching the top part of the helmet, and then it has a built-in breather.
That's cool.
That's very nice. That's what that was $200-300.
No, it's only $100.
Well, that's
not bad.
pretty
So
good.
then it comes off so you could have the neck guard. It's all magnetized inside. It's got everything on it, even like everything from this on top of it. Now the Ruby Supreme doesn't have it. It's easy to see out of, but like I have fans in my trooping one because otherwise the lenses fog up. So I got like 3 fans in it, so
Yeah.
I can't wear this as much as I'd love to wear this. So this just kind of sits as a it makes the noise when it sticks fast. It's like that, and then when it goes back
pretty
on. You can't. I mean, it's pretty awesome. You can't beat that.
It is.
And then,
especially for $100, I'd buy that for that easily.
Yeah,
I'd buy 2.
Yeah, I still have the box too. But it's a nice Vader helmet. You can see the size of it. It's like the Ruby's one is bigger because obviously you need more room for your voice changer microphone, which I usually use. I have it rigged up with a Korg pedal, so I sound just like Vader with it. And then I have a looping, breathing loop that's on an old Android tablet that I use.
Android, huh?
Yeah, that I keep in a fanny pack that sits behind my Darth Vader's cape that you don't see, and have 2 speakers on my belt. So when I talk, I can actually talk to people on the side of the road, and then the breathing's playing constantly in the background in a loop. So
well, people are loving that helmet in the chat, man. They're all saying the helmet looks awesome.
Yeah. I'll go back to our cool. while I put this back up on my.
I guess
shelf.
my ears are not quite the same as Darth Vader's helmet, but you know, that's what I got.
I have to
but you also have see Baby Yoda. See, even John said Baby Yoda. It's not called the child. That is a stupid name.
I can't bring myself to do that.
No, I can't either.
I'm telling you. Go look at the packaging.
Younglings.
It's called the child.
Well, I am starting a petition right now. We are not going to accept that word. It is Baby Yoda. The end. I have spoken.
Agree.
This is the way. No, it's like certain things are just dumb. Like when they say younglings in Star Wars, just call them kids. You don't have to be that different.
Okay, wait. Here it is.
Every time they said that, I hated it.
Baby Yoda has a name, and it isn't Baby Yoda. It's called Child.
Whatever you said.
It's called the Child.
Nope. I'm going to call Kathleen Kennedy right now and slap her. No.
The Child.
Nope. Sorry, Kathleen Kennedy. It is Baby Yoda. It is not the Child. No.
The Child.
I am not accepting that.
Yep. The Child.
Okay. I'm going to have to get the fan base.
If people want to know what species is the Child?
Well, Yoda's species, I don't think was ever explained, and Lucas wanted it that way.
I don't think so.
He didn't want his species really to be known about, so I'm sure they're going to change that in the future. But when George Lucas had Lucasfilm, he did not want Yoda's species talked about as far as their history, what their name. He wanted a mystery, And sometimes that's better. Sometimes, it's better not to know, because you find out things like the child or midichlorians, and you know what? I didn't really care to know that. Or that Darth Vader was a whiny little kid that you wanted to slap when he was a kid. He became the coolest bad guy in the galaxy, and he was started this whiny little kid you wanted to smack upside his head.
Tell us how you really
an
feel.
Angel? You're really an angel. You're so pretty. I'm going to destroy the universe because I
He
love
can
you.
race pods.
Yes, he can. Okay, he can race.
Yeah.
He does pod racing. Yes.
Yeah.
All right,
Baby
so
Yoda is a Muppet. Yes, Kenny, that is true.
everybody's waiting for the call-in number. Hang on. I'm getting it to you guys.
And they're going to agree with me. They're going to agree with me. Baby Yoda.
Listen, I'm not disagreeing. My daughter.
Put a 1 for Baby Yoda and a 0 for Kathleen Kennedy and her child.
My daughter loves the Baby Yoda. She's got 2 hoodies now that have the baby. We got one custom made for her because the stores didn't carry it, so it looks like a little girl would carry a doll on her chest. That's how they made it. So we got that made for her, and then we found another one where he's coming out of, it looks like the Death Star, the egg type thing. But she wants a Baby Yoda plushie, and that's what she calls it, Baby Yoda. It's not the child, it's Baby Yoda. And that's the only thing that's really got her locked now into Star Wars and The Mandalorian is Baby Yoda. So before, she just kind of tolerated Star Wars. She liked it. She liked BB-8, but she wasn't like a super fan like my son and I are. But
I actually tried building a BB-8 some time ago.
BB-8's cool.
It was fun. Had a little Arduino in it, and it was controlling a motor controller and would kind of roll around till his head started falling off. And it's like, this is too much of an investment in time. I think I'm done.
Oh, I have the one. I have the one with the motor. It's down there, I think. But I also have the one that you can control with your cell phone. That's really small, and you can actually watch.
Oh yeah.
You can. It'll actually watch the one Star Wars movie with you, and it'll like move its head, and it'll act out certain scenes that it does in there. I don't know how it does it.
Oh, it's like my son.
Well,
it's like Cole. It's the same thing.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. See, I was already prepared for this.
Well, people are already saying Baby Yoda, so I think I proved my point. Baby Yoda.
So I was already prepared for this because I already had his lower third and everything set up because.
Oh, who's joining?
He calls in every week. You can't. I mean, right there he is.
I can't think of who it could be.
He calls in.
I can't think.
Our number 1 fan.
Angel, what's going on, bud?
How you doing, Angel?
What's up, buddy? You know what's funny, guys? I'm sick as a dog.
Oh man!
And this is the only thing that's making me feel better right now.
What, the Baby Yoda talk?
Oh, glad to hear that.
The show.
Oh.
But it is the child. It is the child.
Oh, sure. Just push me off the screen, Steven. Thanks.
Oh, well, listen. I'll get you set up here. Hang on. This is the first time we've used the four box this show. So relax. We'll get it all situated. Because Angel likes these 4 boxes, so I always pull them up in the 4 box and.
Yeah.
So Angel, what are you saying? Baby Yoda or the child? What is a better name?
Well, when I pre-ordered it from FYE, it's the child.
Oh, okay, but what do you prefer?
Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. You know what? The guy at the GameStop looked at me funny when I asked because we saw online that the GameStop had an exclusive Baby Yoda plushie, and I went in and I said, "Hey, we want to pre-order the Baby Yoda," and he kind of looked at me. He says, "What Baby Yoda?" I said, "The one that that's exactly what he looked at me like I was not a Star Wars fan to the fact that like I had just said I just gave the cardinal sin, like
oh, goodness.
He's like, "You mean the child?" And I'm like, the Baby Yoda, the thing that's on her hoodie. He goes, "Sir, it's called the child." And no, the pre-order stopped last week. And I'm like,
see, you had the whole season of The Mandalorian out, okay? You've had tens of millions of people watch the show, all over Twitter, Facebook, everywhere. That's called Baby Yoda. It's known. People like the name. They've been using it. Did change get us to change it? Come on. Come on, Kathleen Kennedy. Get with the program. Come on. Now I know why Bob Iger had to leave. He probably came up with that name.
maybe.
Yeah, I like Baby Yoda. It's way better.
Yeah.
Baby
Hey,
Yoda.
John, quick question.
Yes, sir.
Your product. I tried to venture in 3D printing years ago, but you're right.
Uh-huh.
It's very hard. Yeah, it's very hard and very expensive. So the other day, I kind of was working on a control panel for my grandson. Well, not for my
Okay.
grandson, for a customer actually. So my grandson was over, and I put him next to it, and he was just drawn to it. Like, is there any way I can get a control panel from you already built so that he can just have his own ready to start in the future type of thing? I mean, he was like gravitated to it. Like he hit the buttons, the joysticks. He loved it.
Now, the one that you have, is it 3D printed or is it something else? I'm
No,
kind
it
of
was an
confused.
arcade one. It was an arcade
Okay.
one up that I was just modifying for a customer,
Okay.
and I put it next to him, and he just sucked himself to it. Like he was playing with the buttons, the joysticks, and he's like less than 1 year old, so it's like I really want to get
Okay.
him the joystick.
That's pretty
There's
cool.
something else that you may be more interested in instead of 3D printing, because you don't have to 3D print if you don't want to worry about customizing and using Glen's products and stuff in there. I'm not trying to sell something else, but I don't know if you can see this in the video. This is an
Oh, that's
acrylic case that you can get on Amazon. I think it's like around $20. So
Wow.
you could put a Raspberry Pi in here and plug in your controllers and stuff and have this was actually part of the inspiration for the OpenCade stuff, in that I actually had a viewer who said, well, do they have a 2-player version? Which of course you can get, customized 2-player stick controllers. Was it Capcom and a couple others? But it was actually this that kind of inspired it when he said, can you make it a 2-player? And I'm like, no, not unless you just daisy chain them somehow. And
right.
so that's something you might be interested in, Angel, is the acrylic case. It's something you can pick up probably cheaper than 3D printing one and sending it over to you. I know
Right.
that may or may not be what you want to hear, but
No,
it
that's
might
fine.
make the most sense, for what'd you say, a 4-year-old?
No, he's not even one yet, but he was just
Oh,
so he was
okay.
just like,
You're starting them
he
You
was
gotta
young.
start them young,
That's
man. You gotta start them young.
yeah.
Well, then
Yeah, that
Angel,
would be
you're gonna
perfect.
end up making like a cardboard, cardboard like arcade cabinet, and putting a monitor in there with that control surface and putting your marquee on it.
Yeah, I might as well. I put all the learning games on it.
There you go.
Yeah, that sounds
Go
good.
big or go home, right?
That's what I said.
Has anything changed for you as far as products from China? Has that opened up again, or is that still right now kind of
He's got the
slowed down to a crawl?
coronavirus. Didn't you hear him when he came on here? Of
Well,
course he's getting products in from
I
China.
know. No, I'm talking.
No,
No, I
I
mean,
was able to get like a good handful to finish up my orders and probably take a few more.
That's why
But she
he's
kind of did
sick.
up the prices. She did up the prices on me
Mm.
for the LEDs. So yeah, I think I do got the coronavirus.
See?
well, that's they do that in everything. I look at the movie Frozen when the guy went to buy a couple of snowshoes. Oh, we only got the couples. You got to pay more. And that's,
Yeah, that's exactly. But I'll probably be hitting everybody up either tomorrow. I don't wanna mess up anybody's showtime on Sunday, so I'll probably do it on tomorrow, late night, and just let everybody know. What I'm really losing is remotes. Remotes is totally ending. Like,
Nobody needs remotes.
yeah. And Steve, I got
What
that
kind of
marquee
remotes?
too. The RF remotes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they light up the marquee. They dim them down. They strobe them.
Ah, awesome.
I think I got like about 20, 30 left, which is killing me.
or is it the price just went up too much on getting those?
Well, she upped the price, but that's it. That's another one of my products that hasn't been shipped. Like that's one of the products that haven't been shipped from China.
Mm.
So. But I did go to my CNC guy, so we are starting to do the parts for the countercade. I'm gonna do controller boards, bezels, and the front panel, so that you can put dual speakers.
Nice.
So that'll be more.
Cool.
And you're venturing
Yeah.
into the Legends water as well, right?
Well, I'm about to send you yours, so you better I hope you like it.
What?
Yeah, I'm giving you an extra Star Wars because he printed one, but he didn't double print it, so you're gonna get like an extra Star Wars film, so you can decide whether you want the
Cool.
darker version or the lighter version. Yeah.
Go for the dark. The dark side's always better.
So Angel did up a really cool,
Better.
or him and Mr. Prophet made up a cool one. Angel sent me a message and he's like, check this out. So once he sends it out, I'm gonna put this on. This thing is pretty cool. They heard me talking about the Darth Vader stuff. Glenn, this is gonna make you jealous. You're not gonna want Tron on yours anymore. If Mizda was doing all the graphic design,
well, it's too late. Mine is going to be Tron. I do like Tron. But
that means you have to buy another one.
Well, we could do a different Tron. We could do it. I got the Tron with the bikes.
Oh
See?
boy.
Who needs money? Who needs to eat?
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
needs to eat.
No. When you go to work, someone always leaves a sandwich in the fridge. I forgot about it. You know, they put it in, they walk away. At 9 o'clock in the morning, they put the food in and they walk away. So obviously they want it. You just go and you take it. And that's how you eat.
My wife's like, as long as the kids get to eat, that's all that matters.
Yep. Yeah, Glenn, we could do a different Tron. We could do the one with the bikes.
Classic bikes or the new bikes? Let's have a vote for that. Do people like the classic bikes more or the new bikes?
The classic one.
You're a classic one? I'm a classic one myself.
Yeah, I figured you would like that. I mean, I could talk to him tonight. He could definitely get that set up and we could send you a new one. You could always swap it out. I keep looking at your cabinets in the back. I think I'm going to get you a bunch of new ones so you can light those up.
Well, it's again, a plan. I do want to get them for you, my friend. Just time. I do want to get these all lit up at one point.
There's a lot of things he wants to do that he doesn't do.
Well, yeah. Well, the thing is, even right now, I have like 5 ongoing projects at the same time right now. I kind of go from one to the next, and I go back. And I still have more in my head. That's the problem. I need more me's. But can the world take more me's?
Oh, no.
Question.
Sure,
I didn't
we
think
could.
so.
So check.
It's always a
So we didn't show this during the show, but I'll show this. I'll show this real quick. So I got a first version back of the Retro Buzz T-shirt. If anybody's interested.
Very.
There's Steve, there's Cool Toy, and then there's the Elephant Man in the middle.
There's Glenn. So it's made to look retro. It's made to look 8-bit. So that's what Glenn's referring to. He looks like Freddy Krueger in the middle, as he says, not what I said. But so we'll have the logos of all the guys. We'll have that on the back. This one doesn't have all the logos because we were still trying to figure out what we wanted to do. Right. So I'll get another one made before anybody buys anything. We want to set it up. I want to talk to Mr. Prophet to have him do kind of like the final. You know, maybe have him be the guy that's gonna, sell the shirts. Like we'll set it up with him, and then he ships them out with all his stuff, whatever. I got to talk to him. I haven't talked to him yet, so he can get some business for this because he's been doing a lot for all of us. So I'm just kind of trying to get a design that everybody thinks is pretty cool, and I'm just getting them one-offs made at like Spreadshirt just to do it, so you guys can kind of see what the vision is behind it. Because I know a lot of people have been asking. We're also I have a deal with a company right now I'm partnered with that makes these tumblers for my outdoor brand, which has the custom camo that I work with a company on, and then my logo. It's like a Yeti cup, if those of you familiar. We're going to get some Retro Buzz ones like this that if you guys are interested, and they're very inexpensive. It's not like Yeti where you're going to pay like your mortgage payment to get a cup. They'll be probably like $15-16, and they keep your drinks cold all day and your drinks hot, depending on what you have. But we'll get some real cool Retro Buzz ones if you guys are interested in even some coolers. Because I know a lot of people have been asking about stuff like that.
Good.
So.
That's cool.
So we got that stuff in the works.
Doug should be there by now. He should be on the show. I mean, just because he's at Disneyland, he can't call in from his phone.
He forgot. Hey, listen. Oh,
why?
This is not.
Speaking of which, and John will probably be able to attest to this. So at the end of this year, we all know that Flash is dying, right? Flash in the web browsers is dead, gone.
Yeah,
like they're gonna kill it.
That's when the whole DC universe changed because the Flash went too fast.
Yes.
And he changed everything.
So Adobe's killing it off. It's not gonna be available in your Chrome browsers or anything like that. So this week I also worked with my developer. Him and I were working on. We got the brand new player on the TechBuzz website that is HTML5, which is what everybody needs to go to if you want to watch it. The cool part about that is, if you want to watch on your
cool toy
phone,
part.
if you want to watch on your phone, your tablet, whether it's iOS or Android, now you can pull it up and it won't kill your battery while you're doing it, because it won't be resource intensive on an Android, because Android could watch Flash. You can do that now. So it has the brand new player that's on the website. So we did a lot this week in regards to content delivery for you guys. So if you are a content creator,
when we say we mean Steven. When we say we, Steven did it all.
well, I usually go, Glenn, guess what? Check this out. And Glenn goes, I get the thumbs up. I don't know what you're doing, but okay.
See, I just want to know on HTML5 if we can play Pong. Because I know in Flash there was Pong emulators in Flash. So as long as you can do that, I'm on board. And we're good.
I'm sure you could do that.
Yeah, I'm not.
I even built a robot years ago. A couple years ago, I used a HTML5 based application on my cell phone that was controlling the robot and stuff. So I have no doubt it can play Pong.
It's not a new technology. It's just the fact that everybody's just finally widely adopting it, right? You know, finally saying, we're tired of Flash sucking the life out of our computers' batteries and our phones' batteries. And, oh, wait, we can also get malicious attacks with it. So we better get rid of it. We've only had that problem for 10 years. So I guess we better do something about it.
Yeah. That explains a lot of things.
Yeah. So that's, that's what's happening. So if you guys are content creators out there and you're using Flash for your video, like if you have a website or you're doing a live stream on your website, start now. Start switching it over to HTML5. Don't wait till, especially with you guys with podcasts. If you have a podcast player, sometimes they give you an option to have it a Flash player or an HTML5 player. Now's the time, if you're putting it on your website, to use the HTML5 player. Otherwise, you're going to have to do it twice. You'll put it on now, and then you'll have to put it on again when they kill Flash, because it's not going to show up on your website.
The Flash is basically the child. HTML5 is Baby Yoda.
Pretty much.
Got it.
So that's your tech tip of the day. So yes, so that's where we're at with stuff.
So Wagner, when you're on here, what was I guess your favorite project? I mean, you got a lot of projects you've done. What's your favorite one you've done?
I'd probably say OpenCade. That's pretty much the funnest one. It's nice being able to create something from using some 3D modeling software, and it was really exciting to use your trackball and your spinner, and that's what I was looking for, a trackball and spinner option, and you provided that, and that was awesome.
Okay, all right.
You completed the fact. I'm not trying to, but
wait, hold on. How much was that? I forgot. All right. I'll say I can cash. I'll do the PayPal. I'll send over PayPal.
PayPal will work.
We'll do it that way.
Work.
Okay.
I don't know the fact that
being able to put this together was great.
That's nice.
Wait, show that again. I wasn't on you full screen. Hang on.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
There you go. That's really sweet.
So,
spinner.
His is bigger than mine.
It's one base bigger. Yeah.
Well, like I said, go big or go home. That's what he decided to do.
That's
right.
But at the time, mine was the same size, actually.
I so want to be able to do that with. I told Glenn, because that's what P-Dub and I like Ivan Ironman Stewart's off-road, super off-road. My brother and I used to play it, and I always play it with the spinner. And that's when Glenn told me about you, which made that steering wheel. But that was after the fact. P-Dub and I were like figuring out how we were going to make it with PVC and Wii parts.
That's a great idea.
It worked.
Yeah,
it did.
It worked.
It was funny. It worked.
Yeah. I saw that video. I thought it was great. I'm like, that is an awesome idea. Might as well use those parts.
Kind of like, what the heck? But no, I thought it was kind of cool because, like I said, I play that game now in the Legends. I use the spinner for the steering wheel because you can do that with that game. Right. And you just hold the gas pedals down. So, I mean, it's fun. And I still have a steering wheel, a NASCAR steering wheel that Glenn was talking about making instructions on how to modify to do that very thing, which is sitting over there lonely in a box.
It's another one of those projects I have over there. It's done. The one issue I'm having though is the steering wheel came out fine. The steering wheel is all set to go. It
It's the
works.
coronavirus.
The pedals, yeah, but the pedals, there's 2 potentiometers in there, and they're analog. And I've tried a couple different things to get them to communicate over, and they're not being recognized. If you're gonna have a steering wheel, you got to at least have the brake and the gas pedal.
I
So that's
agree.
kind of been holding me up right now.
Can you hook
I've
them
been
up to like an A button and a B button?
Well, I can modify it and make it just on off.
Oh,
Gas or not and brake or not. But you don't want that. You want to have the analog
yeah.
flow of it. So
Yeah.
my first thing I was trying to do was it's kind of old, but there's a company, gentleman, makes this little adapter for all the Atari 2600 paddles or the steering wheel controller for the Atari, and converts those potentiometers into something the PC can understand. And I hooked it up to that, and it did read it. But none of the emulators, when you have the steering wheel connected, my spinner connected with those, it wasn't recognizing. I'm trying to figure out why MAME and other things are not recognizing that adapter when mine's connected. So it's still being worked on, but I just haven't come to a solution yet because I have, again, a couple other projects going on as well. I got to sleep a little bit. I got to sleep once in a while.
Sure.
I know you don't. I wake up in the morning, Steven's on. I'm zonked out because I'm an old man, and he's still sending me messages. Beep, 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 beep. I got Doug, Steve, I'm done. I'm out.
I'm usually up late and I'm up early.
Yep. Midnight's about my end of my mode, and I'm up usually 4:40 to 5. Yeah, that's pretty much it for me. I'm gone the rest of the time.
Sometimes I'll stay up till, I don't know, midnight to 2 a.m. sometimes, depending on what I'm working on. But I try and avoid doing that.
How about you, Angel? What's your sleeping habits, Angel? Come on, tell us your sleeping habits. Let's find out.
I stay up until the melatonin kicks in.
There you go. I was gonna say the scotch, but okay, that's good.
Once the melatonin comes in, I'm gone. I'm actually supposed to be working now, but I'm too sick and tired.
Yeah, you got to rest, man.
You're sick, or you tired, or you're sick and tired. No, I just, a lot of times I do my best work at night, especially with development when I can't see straight. And it sounds funny, but like my contacts, I'm ready to take them out, put my glasses on, and I could just focus on, web development or whatever it is that we're working on. And, even with the podcast stuff, I've been working on it for a while, but I've been trying to get us dialed in to where we were sounding good and looking good before we go and throw it up on iTunes and people go, man, what is this nonsense? This is like a train wreck. I think that's kind of like the best time to do it is at night. I don't know.
It's always quiet.
Yeah, I agree.
It is quieter. Yeah.
Kids are sleeping. The wife is sleeping.
But then I'm up early for work, my day job, right? So, sometimes I'm messaging Glen, 6 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah. And you and Doug, well after midnight, I hear my phone going, bing, 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 bing,
Yep.
bing, 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 bing. I'm like, can you write a whole paragraph for you guys send something?
Well,
No, it's like, bing, 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 bing.
Well, sometimes it's P-Dub too, because P-Dub's in the West Coast, right? Right now, he's only 2 hours behind us.
I agree. You know what? I will take a beat from him at 2 in the morning versus being crop dusted. So if I had a choice, I will take that well over getting gassed. That's cool.
So I try to be available for everybody, like the West Coast people, the Central Coast people. Because next week, what is it, March 8th? Next Saturday night? Is that what it is? Next Saturday? Our clocks go ahead, and now we'll be 3 hours behind P-Dub. So it'll be 3 o'clock in the morning that he's pinging you.
Yeah.
It'll be midnight our time.
I still don't even know why we have it anymore.
I think we should just leave it. We just need to leave. No, I want to keep daylight savings time. We get more light at the end of the day.
Oh, whatever. Just pick one.
Oh, yeah.
Just pick one and stay with it.
I want to be able to stay out in the lake till 9 o'clock.
That would save the daylight.
Yeah. I could hunt longer. I could sit.
They were gonna do that in Florida. They were gonna decide, but it never went through. I don't know what happened. They were gonna just pick one time. So.
I think they like messing with people's heads.
Well, they're doing it.
One day a year, you get an extra hour of sleep. But when reality is, people just stay up an extra hour because they're like, I got a free hour. So it's if I
That's
go to
true.
bed at
Yep.
2 a.m, it's like I'm going to bed at 1 a.m. So nothing changes, and I get
Well,
an
I
extra
think
hour to do something.
I agree with you, but they should do that like on a Friday. Why do they do it on a Saturday and you only have 1 day to recoup? Usually it's not the first night. The second night is when you feel it.
That's a
It
good.
should be done on a Friday.
There you go.
Yeah, again, here goes Grind My Gears from Glen. It's coming out again.
It's the mouse ears.
That's yeah. There you go.
That's right. You know, Mickey Mouse seems like he's an innocent guy, but he's not.
Hey,
be
Bobby,
careful,
I
Mickey
see
Mouse.
Bobby View is. I hope I'm not butchering his name. Bobby View.
I called right after you mentioned him.
Okay, cool. So he's over here on Facebook, and everybody was telling us we need to get you on the show because Angels told us this, and some other gentleman messaged me and said we need to get you on the show because of all the modding you're doing with the pinballs. So
Well, Bobby talks to me. Bobby, just send me an IM. We'll set up a time.
yeah, set it up with Glen. Glen's been booking everybody in the shows and stuff. Would love to get you on, and I think the community would love to see and hear some of the different modding things that you've done and anything you could showcase, man.
Yeah, he took a challenge that I gave him. He took a 15-inch monitor and put it on a countercade.
Wow.
He did it vertically, but it was amazing.
Wow.
It was amazing.
So yeah, man, we'd like to get you on, talk about what you're doing, and you know, see what people can learn.
People are saying Bobby's solid. Bobby's solid.
Yeah, great guy.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Because the guy that messaged me on the Tech Buzz page, he was like, "You need to get Bobby View on." I'm like, I don't even know the guy, but I said he's like, "Oh, he's a good modder and stuff." I'm like, "Well, introduce me," and I said, "I'll talk to Glen," and I don't see a problem with it. I'm like, sounds cool.
He's always doing anything. Like he's like Steve and Doug. He texts me like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, and he's sending me pictures of all his latest.
Oh,
stuff.
is he West Coast as well?
Yeah, he's in Cali.
Ah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, he's in Cali.
That's what happens when you have people. You got friends in other. That's why I don't mind it. Like, I mean, there's times P-Dub's like, I gotta talk to you. I'm like, dude, I'm getting ready to go to bed, man. Even for me, I'm ready for bed. The wife's looking at me. She's like, it's bedtime. You're going to bed. I don't want to hear you talking to people. So, for fear of sleeping on the couch, I go to bed. So,
Although my couch is pretty comfortable. I gotta say.
Just text him when you get up in the morning. See how well it works the other direction.
Oh yeah, that would be like. You know what's funny? Like I have to go out to Vegas in April for work. The National Association of Broadcasters, the NAB show. And what's funny is like my wife will message me when I'm out there because we have to be on the show floor sometimes at 8 o'clock West Coast time because it's in Vegas. And I'm usually up about like 6:37 West Coast time. Well, she'll be like getting ready for work here. So it's like 3 a.m. and she's messaging me, "Hey, what's going on? What are you doing?" And I'm like, it's 3 a.m. I'm sleeping. So it's like she forgets because of all the East Coast people, they're up 3 a.m., So, yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, we East Coast people, I guess, are a little bit prima donnas when it comes to, timing.
I sent Bobby a friend request on Facebook, so
That's true.
We'll connect that way. I sent him a message. I know you're connected with Glen, but I just sent you a request.
He'll text you every hour on the hour in the night.
I'm kind of the oddball time zone. I'm central, so it's like over here we got an hour ahead, 2 hours behind.
Yep, I always get to watch my show 1 hour before you, man.
Wait, what show?
Any show. Any show. It's always, 8 o'clock, 7 p.m. Central. I get to watch it first. Although I guess same time, just you're an hour behind. Yes, Baby Yoda. Again, more Baby Yoda stuff. So, none of this. The child.
Baby Yoda.
I wonder why they did that. Why would they call it? I mean, in all seriousness, why would they call it the child? Like, what is it? Is it because you're like saying Yoda is the great one? It is the child.
Well, they're trying to say, because people in the beginning were like, is that Baby Yoda? Is he a clone? Is he this? And they probably want to get away from that, but tough. It's Baby Yoda. It is not the child. Get rid of younglings. Get rid of midichlorians. Stop.
Did you see the last episode?
And I'm still waiting for the real episode 7, 8, and 9 because those ones you released were horrid. I want to see the real ending to the Skywalker saga. What you did was not the Skywalker saga. It was ended up being the Palpatine saga. Get out of town. Get rid of that. Garbage. Garbage.
I still love episode 4 and 5. Those are my absolute favorites.
There we go. I'm with you.
Yeah,
I'll take
Return of the
4 or
Jedi was
5.
okay.
It was okay. It would have been better if it was
Yeah.
Wookiees, which was the original way it was supposed to be done, not the Ewoks. But it was okay. And then, I would do 4, 5, 6, and then 3, 2, 1 as far as how I kind of like them.
And
And
then
I'm
you
only
had to-
liking, and I only like the original 1, 2, and 3 because 7, 8, 9 was so bad. I'm like, if I'm going to take one of them, I'll take 1, 2, and 3 versus 7,
But see,
8, and 9.
I liked the Force Awakens. I thought that was one of the better ones.
It
I
went,
thought.
but yeah, of course it was. You know why? It was A New Hope. You basically paid to see A New Hope in the theater all over again because it was the exact story of A New Hope.
It was still good. All right,
Of course, it was A New Hope. A New Hope is good.
Yeah, they didn't venture out and try anything new. It was the same plot.
all
And I
right.
thought the best line was from Han Solo when he goes, "Really, another Death Star?" He even knew another Death Star.
I'll get this adjusted, but we've got David from UC. He's here, and it's not P Dubs. It was on the lower third from last week. So what's going on, David?
Hey, what's up,
David,
man?
buddy.
I saw an email from my dude Glen. He sent out a call in, and I figured I'd see what you guys are up to.
And look at this. He's definitely a fan of the Star Wars movies. He's got the lighting effect. Look, he's got the halo effect with the lights.
Yeah,
Oh, there you go.
ridiculous right now trying to hold my laptop, but I do have some old Star Wars posters.
All right.
See, there we go.
Awesome.
So answer this
Yeah.
for Glenn because he's gonna have a heart attack. The whole
right.
child versus Baby Yoda thing.
What are you gonna
Man,
call
I'll
it?
tell
Is
you-
it Baby Yoda or child?
Well, I think the real so I think it's Baby Yoda. I don't know, where do you fall down on that, Glenn?
I am Baby Yoda all the way.
I think the real controversy is Disney didn't see it coming as a hit. They didn't have merch
I agree.
lined up or anything.
Yep.
I don't know if you guys already covered that. Maybe that's
No,
redundant, but they
go ahead.
Yeah, they pretended like it was planned, but you could tell it wasn't. The merch was super lame, and it came out months later. And calling it the child when, I mean, that's not a brand-friendly name. It's just stupid. I don't know.
Right.
Just what you said.
But you know what
and,
though?
And actually, what he's just saying right there, though, if you think about the original Star Wars, there was no merchandise then either, and they didn't
Right.
think it was going to be a hit. So
Yep.
that's a good sign to me right there. But he's also right. The child is stupid. Kathleen Kennedy, stupid. It's Baby Yoda.
But you know what
That's
though?
right.
The reason that it's so popular is it's among young girls, younger women, and kids. They all want a Baby Yoda.
That's true.
That's what's blown it off. Like the guys like us, we're just kind of like, where's Darth Vader?
Well,
know?
yes, true. But I'm still on the Baby Yoda train wagon. I think he's pretty cool.
It's cool.
But-
No, I'm not gonna lie. But I'm just saying, like the young girls. Like I said, my daughter's got the hoodies. I mean, that's
Yeah.
right up her alley. Preteen.
Around Christmas
David-
time, that's what every
Real quick.
girl I knew wanted, a little Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
Well, girls want babies, period. So be careful with that one. But so David, you did a
Yeah.
video today as well on the the arcade one of pinball tables. You want to talk a little bit about your little thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I missed something because the CEO of the company broke some interesting news in an interview, but it wasn't really presented as news. It was just kind of low key, but it sounded to me like he confirmed the $500 price point. The table, the one that was shown the most footage of by far was Attack from Mars. Looked awesome. But the big question I have, and I wonder if you guys have thoughts on this or have seen anything on it, is are they really customizing the UI that you get with Pinball FX? Or are they just slapping Pinball FX in this thing? Because you saw weird stuff for the main table. Glenn, you probably saw me complain about this earlier, but the score numbers pop up on the table, not on the DMD, on just the normal table. And I just thought, man, that is so sloppy, but it's prototype. So I don't know if that's final or not.
Before you answer
It's
that,
not,
Glenn, I just realized the guy David that we're talking to is the video that we watched with the. I'm sorry, it's the critic. Help me out here.
Come on, you can get it.
Unqualified critic.
Unqualified critic. For people that don't
Yes,
know
my
that,
friend.
I'm like, you're what? The video that you broke? Yeah, that's the video I watched. I'm sitting here. 2 + 2 equals. So
Sorry, man.
it's
I
great.
should have spelled out UC when I signed in. That's my
No,
bad.
you're fine. No, it's great to have you on here, for guys that didn't know. I'm just sorry. Just just
No,
a-
thanks for having me on for a few, man.
Yeah.
I love it. So I watch it regularly.
Yeah, David's from the YouTube channel Unqualified Critics, and
I'll put it
he
on
had a
this
video
lower third
today.
here.
Cool. So yeah, to answer your question, that is Scott had said before that is still a beta prototype software running on there. That's why the D&D was kind of still showing on the lower screen. He says David he actually said in the interview that once Kathleen Kennedy confirmed it's called Baby Yoda, he'll fix it.
Hey, by the way, who put bets down that the CEO of Disney would be out before Kathleen Kennedy? Because someone took some crazy odds on that. Can you believe that Kathleen Kennedy is still there, but the
I am
CEO
shocked.
is out?
I'm totally shocked. And Bob Iger, if you think about it, Bob Iger was there when they purchased Pixar. He was there when they purchased Marvel. He was there when he purchased Fox. He was there when he purchased me. He was there when he purchased The Planet. He was there for everything. He bought everything.
That's his thing.
And Kathleen Kennedy took over, Lucasfilm and promised George she was going to take, care with it. She was going to keep the mythos the same. And she came in and train wrecked the whole thing, destroyed it, and she's still there. She must have a really good contract, something they simply cannot get her out of until 2021.
Well, we know her contract is a 3-year, and is it 2021 or 2020 when it ends?
I thought it was 2021. So I'm wondering if Bob Iger had to take the heat for that train wreck that kind of happened with her. I mean, I don't know if you heard today either. Steven Spielberg kind of backed away a little bit from the new Indiana Jones film, and Steven Spielberg and George Lucas, they did that together. They've been doing it together the entire time. But something happened with him and Kennedy, and Spielberg is now going, you know what? And he still might be involved, but he's not taking the lead on it at all.
Do we know, though, that there was a direct cause from Kennedy to get... I agree, it's totally weird Spielberg's out as director. That's crazy.
I don't. It's just other YouTubers who have been pretty good track record in there have stated it. And, man, I just don't know. I mean, the Star Wars thing has always been an instant moneymaker. When you heard Star Wars, I mean, people were all into it. Now the fan base of Star Wars is so divided, and I'm one of them.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm at the point now, unless you bring Darth Vader back and he has to come back as a woman because they're trying to make it more diverse, I want Vader to still be Vader. Not a she-Vader.
I just want him to be like a really sad emo guy, Beta Vader. How about that?
Man, no.
Exactly. So, there's certain things. My thing was these last 3 films should have been what they said it was, the end of the Skywalker saga, and that is 100% not. It was a mess. So I understand that people saying they're trying to take their creative parts to it, but that should have been after you completed this and did a new saga, did whatever you want. But from my generation, Luke, Leia, Obi-Wan Kenobi, all these characters, Lando Calrissian, they were at a certain level, and they basically just treat them like garbage, in my opinion. I'm sorry, they did.
Yeah,
all of them, and it hurts when you like something that much. Something like that hurts, and then they wonder, what do you mean? What do you mean you're not going to come see a movie? What do you mean you're not going to buy our merchandise? I went before Toys R Us went out of business, before they were gone. I used to go in there because I'm a big kid, and Star Wars merchandise was sitting on the shelf. Nothing was selling of Star Wars merchandise. When I was a kid, you couldn't keep it on the shelf. No one cared. No one cared.
I want to point out the irony, though, Glenn. You're complaining about Disney merch, but you're wearing something on your head. Are those mouse ears?
I am. I am. I told him this is just my homage to Doug.
Yeah, he's paying homage to Doug, who's down there right now.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I saw that. He's in Disney World. Yeah, good for him.
And I will say, when I was in Disney, like 2010 and around that time when you had the Star Tours, that was awesome.
Yeah.
They upgraded it. But now the Galaxy's Edge, I'm going to wait until Doug comes back because I really have no desire, and apparently not a lot of people don't have a desire. It's not doing very well. So this is actually still a Star Tours version of Star Wars, which is still a classic Darth Vader coming out like this, saying, "One of you is a traitor," and he comes after you like this. So that's why I'm wearing it.
And that is Glen's rants.
That was my rant. Yes.
But David, we got to get you scheduled sometime.
Yeah.
Got to hit up Glenn and get you to come on here sometime too and hash it out.
Love to.
So we don't have to hash it out with Glenn all the time.
So I don't have to have P-Dub's label on my lower quarter. No, I'd love to. I mean, you guys go deep on some of the stuff that I'm not very knowledgeable about. Like I was watching you guys talk about coin ops today. I haven't messed with any of that stuff. But wherever I can contribute, I'm more than happy to.
Well, we don't know nothing about coin
definitely
ops
have to
either.
take a look at coin ops, dude. Yeah, but you got to take a look at coin ops. You know, there's a little learning curve into it, and we're going to have them on here as well.
Yes.
We'll ask some questions, but you definitely have to try coin ops. It's hard at one point, but it's extremely simple on the other side, and it plays just so well no matter what you have. Whether PC, just click on an icon and it launches.
Yeah,
give it a try.
But I think
my first ever super mini project in the game room is, I don't know if you can see it, my crappy webcam, but there's a secondary display over my Golden Tee.
Oh, nice.
And I'm using wireless HDMI on it, and so I can mirror I have a AVR that'll output dual zones, so I can have a console playing on my TV and then have television or something playing, or Switch or whatever. So that's about as technical as I get, which isn't very.
That's cool.
But you know what? That's what this space is for. You don't have to be super techie. It's like if you like to sit around and talk about arcade games and retro games or games in general. I mean, I don't want people to feel like, oh, I have to be, Glenn, I don't have to be like super techie or super geeky or whatever. But if you want to hang, you hang. You sit here just like we're doing now. We're having a conversation. It's not
right.
Nobody's saying
it's just
you
a
don't
place
know.
for. Yeah. Yep. I mean, it's just a place here to talk and voice opinions, and that's it. There's no judging. I mean, look at this. Like I said, there's no judging.
Yeah.
Those are dope, actually. I'm kind of jealous.
Don't say that, because he'll wear them every week. Just don't do that to me. No, but I thought it was cool because I was getting off of work and I saw that you posted the video, and then I went back and watched the original interview with Family
Gamer
TV,
so I watched both of yours and his, and you were spot on with it with the price. That's the first time I think I've heard Scott come out and say like $500, man. It's like, whoa, like, hey.
I don't know how they're gonna do that.
I don't know. But
I agree.
But here's the other.
We've had many talks about this.
Here's the other little.
We had so many talks.
Here's the other bomb that he dropped, and you picked up on it, where you said about the Addams Family. We like the Addams Family. I think he's letting on. I thought the same thing when I watched it. I was like, yep, he's letting on that the third cabinet is going to be the Addams Family.
Right. That's a good table.
Well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was floored because I'm like, dang, man, way to go, Scott. Did you yell at John D for dropping everything?
Do you guys take that as gospel, that $500? Because I'm always afraid to report on stuff out of Arcade One Up as news, because they have a lot of moving parts at any one time, and so stuff changes a lot up until the last minute. So I'm always worried to say that, and then maybe they come out and it is a different price. But it sounded definitive to me. He didn't couch it in any such way.
Originally I thought $550. I thought that was the price point that it was going to come in at, like $549. But between $500 and $600, they're going to do bundle packages like they just did with GameStop with the newer cabinets, right? So they have that. What is it? $500. You get the stool, you get the riser, and you get the cabinet. Now Walmart's going to have the $299 ones without the riser, without the stool. So I'm thinking there's going to be a $600 version maybe of the pinball, but it's going to come with a branded stool, because obviously there's no risers. Glenn, I mean, what's your thoughts? Do you agree?
I do agree, and again, I'm still trying to figure out how they're going to do it. But at that price point, I mean, I think it's probably going to sell like hotcakes. I mean, look at Toy Shock is going at $399, and you're talking $200 more, and getting tactile feedback, the DMD, the screen.
Well, technically,
the larger legs.
$100 more. It's $500. That's what he said.
You're right. Actually, you're right. So $100 more. So
Is it
Toy Shock.
I
think he did say. I think it did have Wi-Fi in it. Didn't he say that in an earlier interview?
He did tell us. He told Doug that at CES said
thought
it would have
so.
Wi-Fi, and then John
Oh,
D.
man.
Yeah, but I
John D.
think-
confirmed
But
it.
yes, but you know what? I think that was just if they have to do firmware updates or some type of
Exactly.
fixes.
Well, that's
Yeah.
what they said.
But if you,
so
but
that's
again,
right.
if you have that in there, I could see leaderboards coming in after the fact. I mean, that's kind of
Oh yeah.
these classic games. You want to have the bragging rights or have your name at the top of a leaderboard. So I would not be surprised if that comes. And the other interesting thing Mark went up there saying is this stuff is free. Like the NBA Jam,
Yep.
when you're playing people, they're not charging for it. It's included in the price. You're not paying anything extra, which I think is like for people like me, that's what I would like. I don't want to pay monthly for a feature like that. I want it to be included in the product. And when I had my interview with Scott, he said it's peer to peer. So when you're playing an NBA Jam, you're going directly to the other person. You don't need, at least that's what he told me, you have to go through a server for it.
Right.
So I'm not
That's
sure how
good.
that's going to
It
work.
reduces the lag between the two machines because
Right.
it
And
doesn't have to make a round trip there.
right. So that's just, it's just good that again, that the technology is getting to a point where things are getting cheap enough that we can do this. Because again, I never would have thought you would have sold a $500 V pin from anybody. Yeah, I actually, I think you see a 300 one.
So
from
David,
anyone.
here's the thing. We will get confirmation on that. David McIntosh is coming on the 20th because they have another big announcement that they're going to bring out. He's going to be at some kind of trade show that week. So the 20th, that Friday, he's going to be on here. He said he's going to go back to the hotel room. He's going to get on here. They got a major announcement that they're doing that week. So I don't know if that's the third pinball, like you reported, or we'll see that pinball. I'm thinking that pinball is going to be E3. That's what I do. I think that's their huge announcement for E3. But
But he said within 90 days, which puts us prior to E3, I believe.
Yeah,
so
he
you
did say
could be
90
right.
days.
So you could be right. Maybe it is the week of March the 20th, and that might put it. You have to do the math and see if that week of March 20th falls in that. Then you know that's what it is. It's the pinball announcement.
Yeah, March 20 does fall in it. And I guess real quick, though, separate from pinball, just changing gears real quick. I want to get your guys' thoughts on that light up deck protector. I don't know what to make of it. Do any of you have opinions on this? Do you know what I'm talking about with the NBA Jam announcement that they're going to have that light up control panel?
Go ahead, Glenn.
Yeah,
'cause
I read that.
I didn't
I read
see
that,
it yet.
Yeah, I did see. I read it today. I don't know, to be quite honest. I saw that announced today, and I saw the one picture of it. I don't have one yet. I got to see a little bit more about it. And it was a static picture as well. It wasn't one where it was a video clip.
I don't think there's
that's
been
more
any
of like,
footage of it.
No,
I don't think so.
But
So
Glenn,
I
remember
don't know.
last week Angel was on here, and Angel, you remember this? John D came in the chat room and was talking because you were talking to him. And you're like, "Oh, I'm gonna have to try that." He dropped that bomb in the chat room last week, and we thought he was screwing around with us. Like, "Oh, we're gonna light up the deck protector," and we're like, "Yeah, okay, John, whatever you say." And Angel's like, "Oh, that's not a bad idea. I might have to try to play around with that."
Yeah, because it would be the LED. It would be the LED along the edging in the back.
Right.
So
And
that the
then
light-
and then you reported on it, David, today that that's what they're looking to do, and we're like, "Dang, we thought he was screwing with us last
They
week."
confirmed it was real. People kept posting about it on Reddit, and I thought I had the same reaction you did. I thought it was a joke,
Yeah.
like an obvious joke to make, like, "Oh, we're gonna light up everything, even the deck protector." And I wrote it off, but they confirmed it. It's coming. And yeah, I think I saw the same photo you saw, Glenn. It's just a promotional picture. And with stuff like, you don't know if the retailer just photoshopped it or what, like that may not be based on any real production unit. Just seemed like an oddball announcement. I wasn't sure what to think of it.
It's
I
well,
mean, I
you know what
read-
it is? It's getting us to talk about it, and that's what the best marketing you can
Yep.
have is to have us talking about it.
I ran into a couple of modders that do light up everything, and after a while, they just don't like all that light in their face when they're playing. To be honest, some guys want to shut the buttons off. Some guys want to shut the marquee off. It visually affects their gameplay. So,
That's why
I mean-
my marquees, I'm glad like they're like you provide the dimmable. Like I make mine dimmer than what probably most people would like it because I've had that complaint. People don't want it bright in their eyes. And even the modded arcade one up that I have, the buttons sometimes get on people's nerves because they're looking for ABC XYZ on the control panel and they can't see it because the light's blowing it out. Us, we're common sense. It's like ABC XYZ, but some people that aren't sure, they're like looking down and they're like, you need to get rid of these lighted buttons. And I'm like, no, they look cool. So
You know what's kind of neat? You've seen those? I think they're called eclipse buttons. Have you seen those?
No.
The button itself is dark.
Oh,
just
yeah,
the
and the
ring
ring
on
is
the
lit.
outside lights up. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I've seen that.
that's a possibility. I mean, those
that'd
are
be
not
cool.
right in your face. Yeah. So that's kind of neat.
That's kind of what I did with these. I don't know if you can see here. There's a printed label.
Where did you get those labels? Because I wanted ones that work. I'm assuming you stuck them in between the button and the color,
I
right?
did. Yeah, there's a way you can easily just pop out the lids there, and then you can
All right.
put the label in there.
New.
If you go to wagnerstechtalk.com/opencade, and if you go there, you'll see a printed sheet. You can print them out at home.
Is there a video showing the instructions on how to put it in there? Come on.
There is, yes.
Oh, so there it
There
is. I know what I'm
Yep.
doing this weekend.
So you
John
can print
is
them
the
out,
man.
and you can see it really good. I mean, I've got it in
Yep.
a dark room, lights come on, and it's great. You can read it.
And if you're looking for the actual button itself that you can pop off like that, I know Do It Yourself Retro Arcade. I know he's got them on his site. He has them as well. So you can always get the button and just put in John's decals in there.
Yep.
So I'm gonna have to see because
could
I don't know
use,
I don't know if my buttons come off.
They
Some do, some
probably
don't.
Okay.
There's a set on Amazon that has the letters already on it. They even have they even do the Xbox version, the PlayStation version, and the regular arcade version.
Right.
There's a
They
set.
guarantee half the buttons will work and half won't.
Those are the ones Michael Manna must have bought, or Stevie Richards, because he bought. Half of them worked and half of them didn't work.
I'll send you the link, Steve.
Cool. No, David, it's I was glad you gave us something to talk about in the news for Arcade 1-Up, because we really didn't have anything for them, and you put that video out. It was like, I was watching it and I'm like, holy smokes.
It's tough following companies like this because they only have announcements so many times a year. I mean, it's not like they can create new hardware 5 times a month or something. So you always have to be out on the lookout. And that's what I try to do, and then catch the info right away and post it. But glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, we got some firmware with At Games. At least they're staying in the news by doing firmware updates, even if it's not hardware. So maybe once Arcade 1-Up starts doing firmware updates with USBs or Wi-Fi, maybe we'll have some more news to talk about when we get into that stuff. I don't know.
I've got to think they look at that At Games strategy, and I wonder sometimes if At Games intentionally did that for the marketing cycles. They may not have. Maybe they just thought, well, we're going to put this product out and adjust it as we need to. But I'm sure what they found was, wow, this is a huge marketing tool. We can constantly push updates. People get talking about it. There's no way Arcade 1-Up has not noticed that.
What? And as more and more of these live shows happen, as more and more people decide to do these live shows besides YouTube videos, they know that guys talking about this stuff are going to cover it because that's what the niche is, right? They're gonna cover this. So, like you said, it's smart marketing because even if we talk about it, and another show talks about it, and another show talks about it. I mean, it's getting out there, and they're not spending a dime. They're just kind of saying, okay, guys, here's some information, and they know we're going to take it and run with it.
Right, but he brings up a very good point. I think he's right. Where when even At Games released the machine, it was probably more for maybe some bug fixes that came along the lines or small updates. But we know between us and the community, we've come up with a ton of ideas that they didn't think of, and they incorporated it. So I agree with what David just said. They probably had a slight thought process to it, but not to the degree they've gone through now. Now we have these weekly updates because they're like, damn, there's a lot of stuff we could put in here. And I think he made a very valid point.
So like Disney and Baby Yoda is what you're saying.
Totally Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda, and Baby Yoda.
No, what I'm saying is it's kind of like Disney not knowing what they had with Baby Yoda, like David said, and now At Games not knowing what they had with the Legends Ultimate firmware, right?
Here's another example, another stupid example, but Ford. Ford had the Ford Taurus for years, right? It was out for a long time, and then they came out with the 500, Ford 500.
Oh, yeah, I see them on the side of the road all the time.
Right. So Ford goes, why did we do that? We had a name with the Taurus, and they got rid of the 500 and brought the Taurus name back. That's what I'm kind of getting at. They had a marketing ploy already with the term Baby Yoda. It was like on fire. Go on Twitter, it's on fire. Why would you change the name? Kathleen Kennedy?
Do you
That's
guys
good.
ever wonder if someone like Kathleen Kennedy looks at these videos about her? Because Glenn, you clearly know there are like 500 YouTubers that have made their career around following her and that descent into madness and whatever.
Right.
You imagine being that person and like watching all this salt. No, I'm not blaming the fandom, by the way, because I agree with you. But that has to
Yep.
be really weird to see all that content about how garbage you are at your job.
Well, you know what? The only answer is, you're right, is we're the fans. We're the people buying the product. We're the people spending the money to go see the movies. You're supposed to be making the movie for the fans. Not necessarily I'm saying pandering to us, but do something. She's been so far off to the left, it's hysterical. And how they allow it to happen, how Lucasfilm as a company, I mean, there's definitely people at Lucasfilm know what they're doing, Clone Wars, know what they're doing, Rebels, know what they're doing, the Mandalorian. There's people that know what they're doing. So how does those people not have a higher say than someone who's got no clue? That's what I don't get.
They probably
I
just
don't
gave it to
After
him.
enough years of that warped leadership, I think the people you're talking about just leave eventually.
Well, fortunately, they're not, because they're running the Mandalorian right now and they're doing the
Right.
Clone Wars right now. So thankfully they don't, because if they do, it's dead. They would have killed Lucasfilm, and that's
You know
really
a turf
sad
war
because
is coming. You know a turf war is coming between the Mandalorian guys. So what, Filoni and then Favreau,
yep.
and those are the only two names I know of attached to Mandalorian. But clearly they are. I haven't watched it yet, to be honest. I don't have Disney Plus. I really don't want to like support it just for 100 different reasons that aren't worth getting into. But I know it's a solid show, and I'm sure it's a breath of fresh air compared to the other junk. But I heard Kathleen Kennedy word on the street was she kind of tried to shut it down. I don't know if that's true or not. It's just kind of rumor. But I
Well, it
suspect
is
we're
the
going to see
rumor.
turf war.
Because it's doing good.
Yeah, right. It is
Yeah.
the rumor, and there was also
It's
a
a
rumor they
hit.
kicked her off the set on season 2. They had her removed from the set.
Ooh, I had
for
heard
the change.
that. That's spicy.
They did.
Interesting.
So it's to the point where, like, Dave Filoni, to me, he's like the number one guy. He should be running the show. I don't know how he didn't get put in charge of Lucasfilm, and she did. Again, I'm sure there's politics involved. I don't know. I can only say from what I've seen since she's been running the show, it's been horrible. But the stuff Dave Filoni's put out, like Rebels, Clone Wars, Mandalorian, it's been solid. The guy, he knows what Star Wars is. You know, it's a fantasy world that you kind of sit back and you enjoy it. You don't get forced down your throat all these other ideas that I don't need to see that. I'm not going to see Star Wars for that. Make another show, call it the Kathleen Kennedy Shove It Down Your Throat show.
No one
Have
will
people
watch
watch that.
it. She
Right.
knows no one will watch it. Listen, this will sound unrelated, but it's not. I assume you guys are hyped for Doom Eternal. Is any of you guys hyped for that?
I didn't even know.
No,
I'm shaking my head. You
I've
can't
heard
see
of
it
it.
on me, but yes.
The new Doom game coming out, so the sequel to Doom 2016. Well, the guys behind that at id had a big interview, and they directly compared it to Star Wars because people were asking, well, okay, you made a modern update to Doom. Of course, we all know Doom, and people embraced Doom 2016, even though it was a dramatic evolution of old school Doom that we all remember, in a way that Star Wars fans didn't. They didn't. They carried the fans over, whereas Star Wars never did that. And they boiled it down to what you're saying, Glenn, I think, which was their phrase was, we cook with the same ingredients. We figured out what exactly makes Doom tick, and we moved it over. And if you look at, I don't mean to go real deep on Star Wars, we can change the subject whenever, but if you look at Star Wars originally, I think it was about the ascent of the hero's journey, and kind of blah, 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 and analyzed
The adventure.
coming of age, all that stuff. And then you totally strip that out, and it felt really empty, the new trilogy. But anyway, that's the last I'll say on Star Wars, but just my 2 cents.
Oh no, it's okay, because
But
Glenn's still
he's
hyped
right.
up about it.
I am, because he's totally right. First of all, Star Wars was never meant to be what it was. It was one movie. He didn't think it was going to do very well. Obviously, we know it did. He made more, but it was a hero's journey, and it took Luke and the characters 3 films to build up from a very lowly, underpowered state to where they became. And these new ones, again, I don't hate Rey as a person. However, she was overpowered from the beginning. She couldn't do wrong. She could fly a ship. Ben Solo was training with Luke for years on how to use a lightsaber. She bested him using it for 30 seconds. I mean, it's just, that's how they were. There was no reason to watch it because there was no progression of anything. only
You've got a
progression
good
was
point.
the money out of my wallet to go into their pocket.
I will say this: I never looked at it from that standpoint, Glenn. I never stood there and went, "Wow, he's been training Ben all that time," and she picked it up for 30 seconds and whooped him with it. Now that I look back on it, you're absolutely right. Like I never looked at it like that.
Yep. And the second film too. Every time they encountered each other, she could not be beat. She's Millennium Falcon. The ship was half busted. She flew that thing like a champ, better than Han and Chewie did for years. Again,
And Leia hugged her and not Chewie.
Right. Yeah. That's another thing. Poor Chewbacca. The guy didn't get the medal in the original film. He was, he was there. and Han Solo, his best friend for years, just got blown away. And she goes to rape him in 10 minutes. What's up?
Glenn gets on these rants. I mean, we should record each one of these and then say this week on Glenn's rants. What's up?
What's up?
All the GIF makers out there are going to go back and get this clip, and they're going to have Glenn going.
Well, it's just serious. I mean, a movie like Star Wars, again, people today, it's not the same thing. When you go to the movies today, Star Wars, there's been The Matrix out. There's been a lot of other movies out that are just as good. But when I was 9 or 8, when Star Wars first came out, there was nothing like that out there. So this movie was bigger than life. The characters were bigger than life. And again, it's been 40 years. But with that being said, there should be some respect paid to that homage and to us who watched it. And I just feel like they totally didn't give us anything like that at all. It was just bad. And that's my last part of that rant I'll give. It was just very sad to see the characters I grew up with be treated that way.
Agree 100%.
But you know what though, the kids today that probably never saw 4, 5, and 6, they're the ones that really they're not looking at it. They're not going to dissect it as much as you just got into it. And I think that's where Disney looks at it and goes, "Sorry, old timers, you saw your trilogy. This is the new trilogy, and those guys like it."
For them, they still made $3 billion between them. It's not like they didn't make money, and they still make money for the home video release. I'm just saying they're not good movies. When people say, "Oh, it's a good movie," I know I can agree with people saying that The Force Awakens was okay because The Force Awakens was A New Hope, and I love A New Hope. So therefore, it wins by default.
But
the Last Jedi was horrible, and the last film, to be honest, I can understand Palpatine being there because in Legends he cloned himself and he came back. But the problem is there was no lead up to that. He was never the original plan.
But you watch
these
these movies when they were in the theater, right?
Of course.
So it has a bigger impact on those that seen it in the theater than it does to this generation that's watching it on Apple iTunes that was remastered.
Sure.
So when you say the new movies are terrible, I didn't see the movies in the theater when they originally came out. I watch them. I like them.
I understand you're part of the problem. I get it.
No. What I'm saying is, so when that came out, you lived through the beginnings of Star Wars. That fans today that have gotten on the board in the last 5 to 10 years, maybe even 15, 20 years, they didn't have that experience. Like, oh my gosh, this is Star Wars with the cheesy effects that you guys thought was the top of the line. And now you got, top of the line graphics and everything like that. And everybody's like, oh, these movies are great. And you're sitting there going, what?
That's what I'm saying.
Heck?
I mean, there's a movie, what was that movie called? Pacific Rim. Total eye candy movie, but it's a great movie. I mean, Pacific Rim I thought was fantastic. And that's why Star Wars doesn't have the same effect today as it did back then.
Oh.
And again, they always say the same thing. I always get the same response. Star Wars is for kids.
Well,
it's a kids movie.
Think about Ghostbusters, right? My son loves the new Ghostbusters movie that came out with the 3 ladies that do it. Yeah, right. So us that grew up when the Ghostbusters were in the theater, right? That's the Ghostbusters.
Right.
But will anyone remember these?
I'm sorry, I blacked out. What was that? What?
Ghostbusters.
I don't even recognize that as a film. That is not even recognized as a film. I'm sorry.
That was a disappointment.
Well, what about the new one that's going to come out? That's supposedly Harold Ramis's grandson, Spengler's grandson. That's going to be. I think that has the potential of being something good as like a
Yep, I do as
continuation.
well.
But there again, we grew up with the Ghostbusters. I saw them in the theater. You know, that to me is like just like the cartoon for those of us that maybe aren't that old, the real Ghostbusters cartoon, right? That is the Ghostbusters. They can bring out any cartoon now or remake the toys, but those are the Ghostbusters. Don't give me this other crap.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Do you remember there was a show called Ghostbusters? That's why they had to call it the real Ghostbusters.
Yeah, because they had the monkey.
Filmation.
They had the monkey in the.
Yep.
And
And you know why, right?
It was pretty good though.
In the 60s, there was a show called Ghostbusters. That there was a TV show, and it was the two guys and a gorilla. It was
Yeah.
live action, not a cartoon. It was live action. So they owned the rights to Ghostbusters, and then when they were going to make the film, they got the rights, and then Filmation is like, "Well, wait a second, we have the rights to that. Okay, you can have it, but we're going to still do our own show." And you know, they came out with theirs, and that's why it had to be called the Real Ghostbusters. They had to change the name because Filmation technically owned the name Ghostbusters.
Wow.
And that's why they came out with that second animated show. See, being old has privileges.
But that other Ghostbusters one with the monkey, the cartoon one, that was pretty funny. I mean, I enjoyed it.
It was.
It was good.
But again, when you see the word Ghostbusters, you're expecting what you saw in the movies, and you see what the hell is this?
You're expecting Bill Murray, you're expecting Ernie Hudson and Harold Ramis.
Egon,
yep.
All them.
Yeah.
Right. So things like that, they happen. Again, it wasn't a horrible show, but if you're expecting the movie Ghostbusters, you look at it, you're like, what the hell? So that kind of differentiation is Star Wars and whatever Kathleen Kennedy put out. Aside, I'm going to make a comment. Rogue One was okay. Rogue One was okay because there was a comment in here, and I do want to say Rogue One wasn't bad. Actually, I will take that as an actual Star Wars film.
This is coming from the guy wearing Mickey ears the whole show.
Star Wars Mickey ears. And also I want to play it safe because people have disappeared talking bad about Disney, so I want them to see that the ears.
No,
I don't want to be a statistic.
You got that confused. That's the Clintons. When people say bad things about the Clintons, they disappear.
I was going to say
Disney.
something, but I'm glad you did.
That's not Disney. Anyways, we're not getting into politics here.
No.
But no, I know what you're saying though with that. I think that it's different fandom for different people. Like a lot of people thought Darth Maul was underused, and I don't know how I feel about Darth Maul. Everybody's like, oh, he should have been like the number 2 bad guy, and I'm just kind of like, he looked like an acrobat with makeup. I mean, he just really. Kylo Ren was the closest thing to me as a Vader wannabe, or like a modern day Vader. Like Kylo, when the first movie with Kylo Ren in it, it was kind of like, okay,
yes.
Don't screw this up. You can make him. But then when they made him go back and forth,
they screwed him up.
Yeah, when they made him go back and forth, taking his helmet off. I mean, the helmet just kind of makes you intimidating, right? So now he takes off. Now he's Ben. Now he's not Kylo Ren. He's Ben. And then they try to put it back on him, where now
they're over.
Well, yeah, they're teetering that now he's going to be a good guy. Oh wait, he may be a bad guy. Oh wait, he may be a good guy. They ruined it. They should have kept him. He could have been the ominous one.
Right, and actually, if they would have made it where Rey, his 2 things I think that could have fixed this. One, Rey needed to be weak, not won that battle. Someone should have came in with a ship, blasted him out, knocked him out of the way, saved her. She shouldn't have won that battle in the first film. And I actually think in the last film it should have ended where she did go to the dark side, because Ben was already dark and he came back to the light, and he had to kill her and save her. Like at the end, she should have became the new Palpatine. That would have saved it for me. I would have understood. Okay, she's got all this power. It corrupted her now, and Ben realized he came back to the light, and then it could have been called Rise of Skywalker, because a Skywalker came back. Ben Skywalker. Rey is not Skywalker by going Skywalker. No, sorry, no. You're Palpatine. You're evil. You stink.
That bad, huh, Glenn?
It is. But you know what's funny? My brother went to go see it with me. He walked out. He got right, and he's not even a Star Wars fan, but he can tolerate regular Star Wars. He goes, "What the hell is this?" So at least watch the end. At least watch the 2 minutes of him being stupid, burning his own face off because he didn't learn it again, and he fried himself. He walked out. He wouldn't finish watching the movie. So that says something. I mean, the movie was just not entertaining at that level. He walked out. Bye.
And David's just like, mm-hmm.
No, I muted myself because someone's taking a shower upstairs, and I don't know if you guys can hear it.
No, you're fine.
Sorry.
This is post show, so I mean that's why we let Glenn we let him go, because it's not like, I mean, it's
the chains are off.
Well, because when you submit stuff, even with the podcast, and anybody that knows that, I do have it as a general audience, so that's why we try to be as clean as possible on the show. After show, it's just recorded to Facebook, and I'm not going to dictate how people talk, but I don't want to get thrown off of or get blacklisted from Apple, so or Google. Then you're just done. You might as well just pack it in. But
well, let's change gears real quick. What do people think of the new Sonic film?
Awesome.
I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't seen it yet either.
I've heard people say good things about it. I mean,
I
when you think of like those type of movies, Mortal Kombat was good, and Tomb Raider, at least the first ones, and the first Resident Evil, like Mario was horrible. But I've heard people say good things about Sonic.
But
I think it was I don't think it's as good as people are saying it is, but I really liked it. I watched it in theaters. I'll probably buy it when it comes out. It wasn't a great movie. There were some plot holes. The writing was good, not great. It was kind of funny. The Robotnik performance stood out, I thought, as super stellar. Jim Carrey's gone psycho, I guess, in the last number of years, but I don't know if this is a comeback performance. It was good. It's worth it just for that. The animation was awesome. They brought the art director for Sonic Mania, which, if you guys have played that, that's like the modern Sonic game, but made in the 16-bit sort of milieu or aesthetic. The art in that game is fantastic, and that guy oversaw the animation for the Sonic movie, and it shows. It's so good. It's the visually so true to the original.
Definitely an improvement over the original artwork. And again, they listened to people and said, you know what, the artwork, we got to change it. So I wonder if people would say the same thing if they saw the original Sonic with the teeth and the weird head.
Yeah. Well, that's why I think this is getting overrated a little, but I don't want to take anything from it. Like, you guys should go see it if you have any interest at all. You'll probably enjoy it. But I think people are just so excited to finally feel listened to after 5-7 years of just being ignored. Oh, you don't like this movie, then don't see it. You know, suck it. You don't support women or whatever. Like, it's gotten with a lot of people that make these movies. In some cases, if you guys follow interviews and stuff. But Sonic, they looked at it and they completely redid the animation. I think the original animation studio went out of business, so the stakes were high. But the original Sonic animation from the movie, now I'm not talking about old Sonic, but I'm talking about for the movie, like Glen saying, they showed teeth and it was really anthropomorphic. They had long human length legs and stuff. It looked stupid. It was very ugly.
Well, that's usually how they do it with video game movies. They end up messing them up. But that's good. It's Sonic's good, because I know my son wants to see that, and I actually do. I want to see it too.
I'd like to see it. Yeah.
So at least we know it's worth going to see, and not something that's.
Okay, so we have a couple people lined up. We'll have David come on. Well, David, you'll send me a message and we'll get you scheduled.
Yes.
And I think before I start ranting some more, we should probably start.
Yeah, we're gonna need to wrap, because I need to eat dinner and I need to start uploading this. But let's get David scheduled sometime for the next opening that we have. I know Glen. We've had Glen do the scheduling. He's been doing a great job to get that all in there. So Bobby View, we can get him on. When we got an opening.
And if anyone knows Kathleen Kennedy, we'll see if we get her on. We'll have a talk.
Oh man.
Anyone know Kathleen Kennedy or Bob Iger? Have them call me or contact me. We'll love to have them out on the show.
The gloves will come off on that one. The gloves.
Thanks, guys, for having me here. I enjoyed it this evening.
Yes, thanks for joining,
Really
John. Really appreciate it. We'll get you on again too.
I'd love it.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate it.
And guys in the
Thanks, John. Great having you.
Guys in the chat room, we appreciate you guys.
Good talking to you.
Hey, nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you, Angel and David.
Yeah, nice chatting with you guys. Sorry I didn't join earlier. I saw Glenn's email late. I was out of the house and whatever. But yeah, I look forward to.
How dare you, David? How dare you not see my email until now?
I should have been on call 24/7. Maybe by the next time I come out and am on the show, whenever that falls, maybe the TurboGrafx Mini will finally be out. We can talk
Oh
about
yeah,
that.
man.
Yeah, let's hope.
Don't get me started again. I'll talk about that because we all
I'm
know
so-
that the TurboGrafx 16 is better than the Sega Genesis.
Oh, of
Just saying.
course.
Oh, this ought to
Yes,
wait. So
yes.
this will be good because Cool Toy is pro Sega. Like he doesn't like he pre-ordered it. I pre-ordered it, but he's still like it's not gonna beat Sega. Him and Glen, if you didn't see last show, go back. They were like going at each other on last show because of Sega versus TurboGrafx. It was quite comical. So if we have two
Yeah,
Pro Turbo,
when you're younger, sometimes you don't know what you're talking about. It's just how it is.
Well, casuals would argue Sega versus Super Nintendo, but only the elite compare Sega and the TG16. I mean, that's just how it
There you
has to
go.
be.
no, it's
Boom.
I like them both. So I never had a TurboGrafx 16 growing up, so I always
didn't
wanted
either.
them when I saw the Mini, and I was like, I am pre-ordering it.
I had one as a kid, but I only had a few games. I was young enough that you didn't have my own money or whatever.
Yeah.
But the first thing I did when I put Lunar on my Sega Mini was put Splatterhouse 2 and 3, which were never on TurboGrafx, but of course the original was on TurboGrafx. But I played that and I just felt empty. I thought, man, I got to play the original Splatterhouse on the official TurboGrafx. I cannot wait.
I have that. I put Splatterhouse on the Legends Ultimate, and it's fun. But
Did you get the arcade ROM on there? Or
Yes,
which version?
it's the arcade ROM. Yeah.
Nice. I never
Oh,
played
the
it.
original.
Carrying case. Damn, that's in like mint condition too.
This is the
How many of those do you
TurboGrafx
have?
Whip.
I
This
just-
one I only have the one,
The one?
but this is my.
Wow.
How many TurboGrafx 16s do you have? Do you have one? Do you have the box and one of them that's all boxed up, never opened?
You know what? The box for this CD-ROM was probably bigger than me when I got it at Crazy Eddie, and I had it in the attic, and someone tossed it. So I had all the other
Wow.
boxes, just not for the CD. But
Wow.
this thing, love this bad boy, love it.
That's
That thing was a monstrosity. Everyone talks about the Tower of Power, but holy shit, that thing's huge.
It is. It's big. And one cool thing was this CD-ROM, believe it or not, it comes out and it was supposed to be used as a portable player.
Yep, I knew that.
But it's so delicate. You'd be stupid to do that.
Oh, I wouldn't do that. No, and it probably skips every other one. Like if you were carrying it, probably doesn't have like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you
Oh,
wouldn't
yeah.
want to carry that.
No.
So
no,
that
but this
fully works? That's fully functional, Glenn?
fully functional.
Wow,
I
man.
did have to. There's a thing called gear rot, so I had to replace the gears in the CD, which was not fun.
I bet.
But it's in there. It works. It does. And I love this system. It's a shame just not marketed well in the U.S. It's a really, really powerful, good system.
And it looks so like early 90s, just that green and that orange. A
Oh,
lot of
yeah.
people don't like how it looks, but I actually dig it. But that's probably nostalgia talking.
No, I like it. I like it too. I think it's. I want an original, but like after talking to Doug, Doug's like, you're gonna spend more money trying to get games for it. You're just better off
yeah.
just getting the Mini and be done with it.
There's an EverDrive though, Hue card that you can get, I think.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's $79 to get it, but for the CD games, you need to get this really attachment. That's $350.
That's insane.
As nice as it is, I would say go for the Mini because I think Ease Book 1 and 2 is actually on the Mini.
It is.
So that's
Yep,
a CD-ROM.
both of them
So
Oh, before
I mean,
before I forget, I know we're rapid, but before I forget, also I've been in talks with Metal Jesus Rocks. I'm sure everybody on here watches his videos and stuff. I asked him to come on the show, and I know Glen's been after him, but I actually got a couple of responses back from him. Right now, he's in the process of upgrading his computer, and he said, I think in a month or two, which is probably when we'll have the opening, he said he would come on. So we'll get him on to
Awesome.
chat here. I like his stuff. He's always very straightforward with it. He doesn't sugarcoat anything. So I said to Glenn, I'm like, we got to get him on the show. I think he'd be great.
yeah, I've been talking to him for a while, and his old house, his broadband was made by Doug's guys.
Yeah.
So it's really bad. So he moved, and then if we can get him on, it'd be great. I mean, he's a nice guy.
So if you guys are fans of him, let him know that he needs to come on because I already messaged him about coming on the Retro Buzz. If you guys are notorious commenters on his stuff, let him know because hey, it goes a long way sometimes. Like it puts it kind of a priority. But we'd really like to get him on here and pick his brain about a lot of different
that'd be
stuff.
cool.
I also put out. I was Twisted Gaming TV. I don't know if anybody watches his stuff. Twisted Chris over there. I put it out there to have him come on the show too. I think he's a really nice guy, really straightforward. He's not a prima donna. Really nice guy. So again, I think we've got a list of good guys that are going to come on and drop some knowledge
and
bombs.
I think they both said that the TG16 was better. So I'm already a fan of theirs.
So yeah. So you're a fan of them right off the. Poor Doug, man. Doug is going to get. He's going to go back and maybe watch some of this, and he's going to be like, "Oh, that was the first time I ever seen Doug wring his hands when he was like talking with you." I thought he was.
I don't
like,
live close enough, thank God. I have a couple of states between us.
He was going to jump through the screen and wring your neck. He was like that close to do that. It was funny.
When you see the veins start coming out here, you got to be careful.
He didn't get solace knowing there were like 12 people, including Glenn and I, that had a TurboGrafx. I mean, he won by default that way. It doesn't mean Genesis is better, but he's got some notches under his belt.
Right.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not anti-Sega. Sega's a nice console, but I just felt that the TurboGrafx 16 was just better. That's just my opinion. People have their own. They could be wrong all they want.
All right, we better go before Glenn gets down into another rant. Guys that are watching us, we really appreciate you hanging out with us the rest of this time. Post shows are always fun. We always have a good time with them. But keep the suggestions coming. I know you guys have suggested guests. Glenn's been doing his best. I know there's some other ones that he didn't tell you about that are coming up, that are waiting in the wings, that I think you guys will really like. We can't give you everything. We can't tell you everything. So
no.
I know for a fact there's a couple of them that that he's got, and a couple of them that they're working on that are guests. So stay subscribed. Now that we have the podcast, get subscribed to that if you can't be here Friday nights. And we really appreciate everybody's support in this, and we're going to keep bringing you, I guess you can call it entertainment. Well, when Glenn does his rants, it's entertainment.
Grinds my gears. You know what I mean?
Steven, before we go, I got a quick question for you, man.
Yes, sir.
The background. Yeah, your background, is that a green screen or is that really a room? Because there's a lot going on there and it looks pretty sweet.
So this is another camera. So this is actually a 56-inch TV 4K that's behind me that I shot video of my arcade room, which is across from me, that you can't really see right now. But
that is actually your arcade room.
Well, yeah, that's part of. I have like 3 other cabinets that are up from this a little bit that I couldn't get in the picture, and then I have the Legends that's across it, and then I also have. You can see the Toy Shock pinball right here, and then there's a basketball thing on this side. I'll have to do a video tour sometime. But yeah, that's actually my game room. But I just have it on a looping video, and I blurred it so it looks like I'm sitting in front of my game room.
I like those LED lights you have on the top too. That's pretty cool.
Yes, I have them running around the top. iOS controlled just from Amazon. They're pretty sweet. And then I have everything turned on with Google. It turns everything on, so I don't have to mess around with it. But yeah, that's on the other side of the studio. Because I got tired of it. Like before, what I used to do to cheat, I'd leave them run and just point one of the cameras at it and use that as my background. And I was like, well, dang it, why don't I just shoot the video and let it run and put it on the TV behind me? You know, it play in a loop, right? So, and then I've got my console TV in the middle with all the retro consoles and even the newer stuff. So,
very cool.
Yeah, man.
Yep.
So, everyone, thanks for coming on. John, David, Angel.
Appreciate it.
Great show.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Enjoyed it.
All right, guys.
Easy, guys.
We're going dark.
Y'all have a good evening.
You too.
Peace.
All right.